Welcome to Daytona Beach, where Bethune-Cookman sits atop of the MEAC Conference, thanks to quarterback Matt Johnson, who lights up the scoreboard, and linebacker Ryan Lewis, who keeps opponents from doing the same. Tonight, they face North Carolina A&T with a MEAC leading running back who can hit home runs and a quarterback who used to do just that. MEAC football is next on the U. Welcome to Daytona Beach, Florida for ESPNU College Football Primetime, presented by McDonald's. We're at Municipal Stadium for this MEAC matchup as the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman host the Aggies of North Carolina A&T. Let's check out the latest MEAC standings. Bethune is on top with a perfect 4-0 conference record, while the Aggies are in a three-way tie for fourth at 1-4. Hello, everyone. I'm Charlie Neal, and throughout the evening, I'll be bringing you updates on what's going on in black college football. But as far as this Bethune-Cookman team is concerned, at the beginning of the season, people were wondering, are they for real, especially in their season opener when they put up 70 points against a Division II school, Edward Waters. But then 2 weeks ago, they started making believers out of people and making people believe in them because they knocked off the #1 team in all of black college football, South Carolina State. They come into tonight's game with a perfect 7-0 record, their best start since 2002. Now, the question is, can they go unbeaten the rest of the season? Well, it all starts tonight with the Aggies of North Carolina A&T. And for more, let's go upstairs to the guys who are going to be calling the action, Anish Shroff and Jay Walker. Gentlemen.
All right, Charlie, thank you very much. And, Jay, one of the reasons Bethune's start was such a surprise, they have a first-year head coach in Brian Jenkins. He installed a new offensive system, but it's been Matt Johnson's ability to run that system, and that's a big part of the reason why Bethune's 7-0.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key. Anytime you go from running the wide bone, which is a version of option football, which was run first, to now having a wide-open, spread-out offensive attack where you throw the ball first, well, you must have a quarterback. And they're fortunate for Bethune-Cookman. Senior quarterback Matt Johnson is making great decisions with the football. 10 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. He's the reason why this offense is putting up over 40 points per game.
On the other side of the ball, you have North Carolina A&T. Their quarterback, George Hines, he was a baseball player. He joined this team in mid-season. He's now not only the reigning MEAC Offensive Player of the Week, but he's a starting quarterback for the Aggies.
Yeah, I think that's been phenomenal, and that's why there's hope amongst the Aggie Pride Nation. The fact that now they've got a quarterback that can lead them to some victories, keep them very competitive. He was rewarded by being named the MEAC Offensive Player of the Week last week. He's an exciting football player, very athletic, and has got a live arm.
North Carolina A&T coming off its first win of the season. Bethune looks to remain unbeaten coming up. Professor Jay gives us his lesson plan for tonight's game.
When you join together.
Welcome back to Daytona Beach, Florida. North Carolina A&T taking on Bethune-Cookman. It's time to meet the head coach for the visitors for North Carolina A&T. They're led by Alonzo Lee. He's in his second season. He's well-traveled in the MEAC. This is his second stint with North Carolina A&T, but he's also been an assistant at Howard, Hampton, Florida A&M, and Morgan State. Jay, what's going to be the key for the Aggies tonight?
I think for North Carolina A&T offensively, they must run strong. They've got the #1 running back in the MEAC conference. They need to use him so they're not relying on their quarterback, George Hines, to win the football game for them. Defensively, finish tackles. This Bethune-Cookman Wildcat offense, very athletic. You've got to make tackles in open space.
Meanwhile, for Bethune-Cookman, they're led by Brian Jenkins. He's a first-year head coach, was an assistant at Rutgers last year. He replaces the very popular Alvin Wyatt, who's the winningest coach in school history. Jay, what do the Wildcats have to do tonight?
Well, Bethune-Cookman's got to protect their quarterback, Matt Johnson. We know that Alonzo Lee's going to bring pressure. And defensively, they've got to confuse the former baseball player now playing quarterback, giving them different looks, having mass confusion on the defensive side of football. 7 Hurd with the kickoff, and that's Justin Farrell taking it all the way up to the 34-yard line. North Carolina A&T on offense. And here's George Hines. He used to be a big baseball player. I thought when he was walking out, we were going to say now batting.
Now batting,
North
right?
Carolina A&T at quarterback, George Hines. But what a great story. You know, the fact that it was a high school quarterback and then realized I've got 1 year of eligibility left if I want to play football, deciding to do it at the beginning of the season. And I think he's been the spark plug that has the Aggie Nation saying, hey, we're going to turn this season around.
1st and 10 for Hines and the Aggies. 1-7 on the season. Won their first game a week ago, and they give it to Mike Mayu. Their big running back leads the MEAC in rushing. And let's see the offense for this North Carolina A&T football team. Mayu, who got the carry on that first play. The MEAC's leading rusher, 5 100-yard rushing games this season. Meanwhile, up front, Brenton Walker, the center. The coaches call him the anchor of this Aggie offensive line. 2nd and 8, a 2-yard gain on first down. Now looks like they're changing the play here. Play clock down to 2, down to 1. They just get it off. Mayu again. He's got some room, and he gets to midfield. Gain of 15 on the play.
Did a great job of bouncing to the outside. And, you know, one thing you'll see, we don't see this often in college football, going with the power I formation. What do? You give a little fullback lead block, get a good hit on the inside, seal the outside, and you'll see Mayu's got the vision to get outside, make the first defender miss, and pick up the first down.
Mayu again on first down. He's in a Bethune-Cookman territory before being taken out of bounds after a pickup of 12 yards. Let's meet this Bethune-Cookman defense. Up front, Eric Williams, Mike London. Ryan Davis is the guy coaches say have next level potential. And how about another Ryan Lewis, the linebacker. He's had an interception in back-to-back games. And then in that secondary, R.K. Smith, 4 picks on the season. He's a ball hawk.
And I like what they're doing right now, North Carolina A&T. You don't want to get into a track meet versus Bethune-Cookman, but you want to control the clock. So every time they snap the ball, they're letting the play clock get down to less than 6 seconds. So that's a way to kind of slow down a potent offensive attack.
They keep it on the ground again. This is Dominique Drake, his first carry of the game, and he picks up 3 yards. Ryan Lewis on the stop. Lewis and Reggie Sandilands lead the team in tackles, 40 coming into tonight.
Yeah, the strength of the Wildcat defense is in their linebackers. They funnel everything towards the inside interior line play, and they feel that they've got 3 of the best linebackers in the conference. And once again, get under center just to make them line up, and then they see the play that they're going to call, and then they get back underneath. So they're in no rush clearly, and that's how you kind of take the air out of the football to slow down the pace of this football game.
Hines to throw for the first time, throws it far sideline, and that ball is dropped.
Wow, good throw. You know, we talked about the athleticism and the live arm that George Hines has. He gets outside the pocket, breaks contained, squares his shoulders, and delivers a strike. You've got to catch that ball. I mean, wow, did he put it right there in the bad spot, right between his hands?
That was Torian Warren who dropped the football, and Alonzo Lee and some of the coaches were telling us that the receivers, they were getting open early in the season when this team was struggling for an answer at quarterback. They just weren't getting the football. Well, that was a situation where receiver was open, he got the football, just got to catch it.
Got to make the catch. It all starts with the catch, playing wide receiver.
Hines to throw again. Over the middle, and that's incomplete. Again, Warren, the intended receiver. It'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, wow, if they
or make it 4th down. They'll bring on the punting unit.
And it all goes back to that drop pass by Torian Warren on 2nd down, which clearly would have had the first down to keep the drive alive and definitely put him in field goal range. So disappointing start. They don't have points on the board, but the fact is they see that they are going to be able to control line of scrimmage, especially on the right side, led by Alex Harper, the offensive tackle. So that's going to be interesting to see what Bethune-Cookman can do to combat the physical running game of North Carolina A&T.
Alex Grubb will punt just inside midfield. Courtney Keith back deep for Bethune-Cookman. Angling kick, takes a bounce at the 10-yard line. Keith fields it around the 5. And he gets out close to the 20-yard line. And when we come back, we get to see the Speedway offense, one of the most exciting offenses in the MEAC this season.
Broadcast is presented in high definition on ESPNU HD by Comcast.
ESPNU College Football Primetime is presented by McDonald's. I'm loving it. No score here in Daytona Beach. The Aggies of North Carolina A&T punted on their first possession. Now we'll see Bethune-Cookman with the ball for the first time. Now let's go back upstairs to Anish and Jay. Gentlemen.
All right, thank you very much, Charlie. Matt Johnson leading this Wildcat offense. Bethune-Cookman's senior quarterback, and This was a team that was known for running the wishbone. They called it the Wyatt Bone in Daytona Beach. 13 years under Alvin Wyatt. New coach, new offense this year. Johnson on first down, has plenty of time, throws, completes, near side, and that's a nice gain. Andros Bell, the running back, but a flag on the play. It's a 24-yard gain, but a flag comes in at about the 37, 38-yard line. It's defensive holding. That penalty, of course, declined. Meanwhile, Bethune-Cookman, they try to snap the ball right away, give it to Bell. Meanwhile, let's take a look at what happened on the previous play.
Wow, you talk about all the protection there by the offensive line, and that's been the good story here. You know, they want to throw the football, but the offensive line has made good adjustments in going from a run-first attack to pass protection. They do a pretty good job protecting Matt Johnson.
False start, number 81 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Let me just mention, when we were meeting with the Bethune-Cookman coaches yesterday, our producer, Brett Walensky, asked one of the coaches, how long does it take you to get a playoff? He wants to get those replays in. Bethune-Cookman doesn't want us to do that. They ran a playoff while we were showing you the replay, and a false start penalty, that time on Javon Reams, so it's 1st and 15 Wildcats. Johnson's going to keep it. Oh, he's got some wheels across midfield, out of bounds of the 49, a 12-yard gain. Matt Johnson, he's the quarterback for this offense. There's a lot of weapons on this Wildcat football team. Andros Bell, big running back. He's not very fast, but he's deceptive. He's tough. Coaches call him a workhorse. And then an offensive line, which coaches say is the biggest reason for their success. Another handoff. And it looks to be a first down, a gain of 4 yards. That's Bell again. Tackle made by Chris Neal. And we are seeing a clash of styles. North Carolina A&T took their time. Bethune-Cookman, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. That's a nice run there by Javon Reams, gain of 8 yards. Let's meet this Aggie defense. Chris Neal, coaches say if he was 2 inches taller, he'd be a Division I recruit. In the middle, Brandon Jackson had 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery last week against Howard, and Justin Farrell, talented junior DB. On 2nd and 2, Bell again. And he gets a first down across the 35-yard line.
And I think watching the Speedway offense, isn't that a unique nickname for an offense? You know, we've heard of the Gulf Coast offense.
Well, they don't step on the brake.
they don't have a brake pedal, but in watching the Speedway offense up close and in person, you can see why it works. You know, we talked about the importance of Matt Johnson, but you saw when it's not there, he can scramble. You don't have just a running quarterback. You've got a former option quarterback that becomes a running back when he breaks the line of scrimmage.
Johnson this time trying to make something out of nothing. He's going to run. And you can see he's got some wheels. He takes off. He's there.
See, and that's the difference. You know, as a drop back quarterback, once you scramble, you look for a lane to run, and you just got to be there. But when you've got an option quarterback, he can create his own running lane. He can make the first guy miss in small spaces. A good inside-out move, then he gets to the outside. So that play was well covered, but yet he was able to pick up 6 yards running the football when nothing was there at all. Oh, he's gone.
And he had the whole defense fooled. Matt Johnson. Everybody went for Ambrose Bell, and Johnson takes it 28 yards into the end zone. 6-0 Bethune-Cookman.
They got it going. We know he's a smart kid, makes great decisions with the football, doesn't force balls in there, and also can make the right decision when you're running that zone read on the outside edge. Called his own number for the touchdown.
7 Hurd on for the point after. And he missed the kick. Missed it wide. But a 28-yard run by Matt Johnson has given the Wildcats the early lead, 6-0 with 10:10 to play in the first.
The game you know and love.
6-0 the score here in Daytona Beach. Bethune-Cookman taking their opening possession and marching all the way down the field. Matt Johnson with the touchdown run of 28 yards. And you know, the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference has 11 former players that are now members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And when you talk about the Pro Football Hall of Fame from the North Carolina A&T perspective, we're talking about a young man by the name of Elvin Bethea. Now, the defensive end was drafted by the Houston Oilers in the 3rd round of the 1968 draft. He spent his entire 16-year career with the Oilers, named to the Pro Bowl 8 times, and when Bethea retired, he held several team records, including career and consecutive games played. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame back in 2003. Gentlemen.
All right, Charlie, thank you very much. Bethune-Cookman, it didn't take long to get on the board, 6-0, and minor correction, it was Corey Kowalski who missed that extra point, not Seven Hurd. Torian Warren and Justin Farrell back deep for North Carolina A&T. Low line drive kick bounces at the 30. This is Warren. And he is taken down at about the 33-yard line after a short return. Let's go back down to Charlie Neal.
Well, for more on North Carolina A&T, it's a school that was founded in 1891, the largest publicly funded historically black college and university in the state of North Carolina. The school is one of the nation's leading producers of African-American engineers, and notable alumni Ronald McNair. He was the first black astronaut who died in the Space Shuttle Challenger explosion, and Reverend Jesse Jackson. He played football for the Aggies.
How about that, the Reverend? Number 48.
48, linebacker.
Yeah. 6-0 Bethune, 10:05 to play here in the first. North Carolina A&T with the football. And they go to the ground on first down, and Mike Mayhew ran into a pile of black shirts, didn't get very far. Maybe a gain of a yard. Ryan Lewis, the first to meet him.
Yeah, and you knew it was just going to be a matter of adjustment. So I think right now it's time for A&T to kind of readjust their playbook. They try to come out with a power I formation. You can only do that with so much success when you've got a group of active linebackers. So now look for them to try and spread them out, loosen up the running lanes.
They're facing a Bethune defense that's not only one of the best in the MEAC, one of the best in the nation. They lead the nation in turnover margin. First in the conference in scoring defense. That pass is complete to Wallace Smiles, and he's going to be close to a first down. Stopped by Ozzie Slater, gain of 11 yards.
Well, look at the pocket protection and look at Hines. I mean, you see the nice compact delivery. He's got a very nice release, delivers an accurate ball. If these wide receivers can hold on to it, they may not want to, but they may be able to win this football game by throwing the ball rather than relying on Mike Mayhew with the running game. Because I think we've seen early on that the Wildcat defense is going to be very stingy running the football. So they're going to box everything on the inside. Maybe they figured out the power running attack. So look for North Carolina A&T to try and expose the Wildcat defense in the airways.
On 3rd and inches, they keep it on the ground. Mayhew, and he gets across midfield, a solid pickup of 9 yards from the junior out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Aaron Brigsby on the stop.
What do you do against a team that likes to use speed all over the place? Misdirection. Start everything going to the left and then have your running back with a design cutback counter run to the right side. So that's how you use a team's defensive speed against them. Good play call.
Aggies into Wildcat territory for the 2nd straight drive. They got past midfield the first time around, but then were stopped and had to punt. Play clock down to 3. They get the play off. Ooh. Big hit right there at the line of scrimmage. And Mike Mayhew didn't get very far on first down. Reggie Sandilands on the stop.
Sandilands is one of those guys we like to call legacy football players. His father played here at Bethune-Cookman, and he's the next generation. They've got 2 guys that they consider legacy for Bethune-Cookman, and he's one of them and part of that great linebacker core of Rock, Ongran, and Ryan Lewis and Reggie Sandilands, three of the best linebackers in the MEAC conference and probably in all of FCS football.
Yeah, Sandiland's dad was a wide receiver in the 80s, and Eric Williams, his father, also played at Bethune-Cookman. Hines under pressure, and he's taken down. Ryan Davis, that's his third sack of the season. His own defensive coordinator said he's the guy you got to double.
Yeah, I mean, that was his quote was, people must account for him. So you'll see him coming from the left side there, just a hard rush up field. Quarterback has nowhere to go, tries to pull up. Active defensive end and Ryan Davis getting it done. That's how you pursue the quarterback. Make him stay in the pocket, then go in and make the tackle.
A 12-yard loss brings up 3rd and 22. They have to get to the 39 of Bethune-Cookman for a first down. Play clock down to 1. Man, I'm not sure they got the playoff.
They call it the timeout. And I'm always wondering if it's 3rd and 21. Why waste the timeout?
North Carolina A&T. That is their first charge timeout.
So no flag on the play. They did get the timeout off right before the play clock was about to expire.
But what are the odds that you're going to convert 3rd and 20 plus? So I just say don't call the timeout, take the penalty, and punt the ball away. Maybe your kicker can make it up.
Saturday morning, ESPNU previews a busy day in college football. 9 a.m. Eastern, Aaron Andrews joins the game day crew and hosts College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. Then at 10 a.m. Eastern, it's a college football version of Sports Nation. At 11 a.m. Eastern, we get the latest news from all the big game sites on college football whip around. And don't miss a single moment on ESPNU this Saturday. And there's some of the games that we're going to see. Syracuse, coming off that big win against West Virginia, goes to Cincinnati. Wake Forest in Maryland. For Kentucky. Boy, Kentucky's been tough to figure out, huh?
Yeah, watch out. That could be the upset there. Mississippi State ranked number 21 in the country, but Joker Phillips may pull off an upset.
Hines going deep for Torian Warren, and he just overthrew his wide receiver. He's gone to Warren now 3 times, and still with no success, no completions.
And had the protection held up a little bit more, I believe that Hines would have been able to complete that ball. But even though that shows up as an incomplete pass, that's something that sends a message to the defensive coordinator. Hey, we've got the ability to stretch the field and go vertically. Don't try and bring all this pressure, because we can hurt you. So every now and then you got to send what they used to call the warning shot over the bow. Yeah, that's a little warning shot over the bow. Hey, we missed you, but we'll come back to it if you keep giving us that same look.
Alex Grubb on to punt. Courtney Keith back at his own 25 for Bethune-Cookman. Grubb gets it off. Good punt. Keith retreats, catches at his 15-yard line, turns upfield, and he gets to about the 28 before he's taken down. And we'll get to see the Speedway offense once again. They were successful the first time. 6-0 Wildcats here in the first.
ESPN. Up to 5 free nights at any of our properties or double points.
6-0 our score here in Daytona Beach. Here's Matt Johnson with the fake, and he takes it 28 yards to pay dirt. 6-0 the score. The extra point was missed, and Bethune-Cookman is on top. You know, the past few years, Bethune-Cookman has been known as defensive back U. The reason? Because of the number of defensive backs they've sent to the National Football League. But their lone Hall of Famer came from the offensive side of the ball, the offensive line to be exact. We're talking about this man, Larry Little. He wasn't even drafted after his college career in Daytona Beach. Signed as a free agent with the San Diego Chargers of the old AFL, eventually being traded to the Dolphins, where he was part of a ferocious line that opened holes for running back soccer kick in Mars. He played in 3 Super Bowls. He won 2, was named to 5 Pro Bowls, and inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1993. Anishan J.
All right, thank you, Charlie. Bethune-Cookman back on offense. They scored on their first drive. Matt Johnson to throw. He completes on first down. And a solid gain. It's going to be another first down. Jordan Murphy on the reception, the freshman out of Concord, Massachusetts. For more on Bethune, let's go back to Charlie.
Well, Bethune-Cookman University, founded in 1904 by Mary McLeod Bethune as an educational and industrial training school for Negro girls in 1941. It became a 4-year school, and today has an enrollment of over 4,000 students.
All right, thanks, Charlie. This is Isidore Jackson. Broke the first tackle. He's off to the races. Or it was Matthew Johnson. They had the defense fooled. They had me fooled. I'll admit it.
Up here as well. You know, it's just great decision making.
Everybody went for Isidore. I figured he had the football.
And look, you see them all running up. Now they're ready to keep going. They want to score, and that's just a great decision what you do right there. And it's so easy. Well, it's difficult, but they make it look easy because they do it so effortlessly. Good job of pulling the ball from the running back's stomach and calling your own number and running to the left side.
They sell that read option pretty well. This time they give it to Jackson, and he gets inside the 10-yard line, close to the 5-yard line. Deshaun Graham finally brought him down. And, you know, on the two big runs that Matt Johnson has broke off, first one, he had the defense fooled. We caught on. Second time, he fooled both us and the defense.
Fooled you, I saw.
Fooled me, you. Sure.
Wow, that's easy.
That's too easy.
Yeah.
Isidore Jackson again. And Bethune-Cookman is up 13-0. 12-0, 13-0 pending the point after.
Up front, they're just too strong for him. I mean, Matt Johnson could call his number on every single play if he wanted to because the offensive line is just bulldozing the defensive line for North Carolina A&T.
Corey Kowalski on for the point after. I missed the kick the first time around. And the kick is good, so it's 13-0 Bethune-Cookman after a 4-play, 71-yard drive. Right now, let's go to Charlotte for a SportsCenter U update. Here's Lowell Galindo. All right, so NC State with a 7-0 lead. That's a big game down in Raleigh. Bethune-Cookman, meanwhile, up 13-0, and they've done it predominantly on the ground.
On the ground. I mean, look at the offensive line. Watch all the black jerseys get on the white jerseys and just push them. They got their backs turned. They're going down like bowling balls. You see all the offensive linemen just leaning on them, and they're just too much for them up front.
Was that a read option there that we saw?
It could have been whatever, but once you've got an offensive line that's getting that much penetration down the field, you can call it. You can keep the football. You can give it to the running back, but they've got to shore up that defensive front, or else Bethune-Cookman's just going to continue to run the football up and down the field.
Let's give Brian Jenkins, head coach for Bethune-Cookman, some credit. To go from a wishbone-style offense, and, you know, there's some elements that are still in place, especially with the pistol that they sometimes use, but to go 7-0 while changing and overhauling an offensive philosophy is pretty impressive. And how about that? A muffed kick. It looks like North Carolina A&T may have recovered it, but the ball loose somewhere inside the 10-yard line of the Aggies. It was a low-line drive kick. The Wildcats say they have it.
Where was the special teams adjustment? I mean, that's the second time that the North Carolina A&T return men have let the ball hit the turf on a kickoff. If you're the deep back, you don't let that ball hit the ground.
It is Bethune-Cookman football. They'll have it at the 10-yard line. There is a flag on the play. It looked like Larry Raper tried to field the football, had it go off his hands. It was kicked around, and boy, you just saw black shirts dart to the football, and that could be a costly turnover here early.
Yeah, it is, and you know, it goes back to what you say. You don't want the football hitting the turf if you're on kickoff return.
Clements Hall is our head referee. We're waiting on him.
Dead ball. Sideline interference against the 15-yard penalty. Still first down.
You know, this is one here where I think the kick is so short, you want the first guy to fair catch it. But once you let that ball hit the ground, you don't know which way it's going to bounce. And you see there, once it's there, everybody's got it. It just comes out. Good job, good effort there, but just fall on it. At that point, you shouldn't have Aggie return team trying to pick up the football. At that point, you just want to fall on it. So they had an opportunity to recover. But that's something that schematically, you just make the adjustment. After they do it the very first time, you say, hey, short kick, let's go ahead and move our return men up and put them in a position to catch that ball.
It was like a rugby scrum. The penalty backs up Bethune a little bit. Isidore Jackson here on first down. He's tripped up. That's big number 50, Jamal Wardlaw, kid who played mostly on special teams a year ago, making the tackle.
Get that penetration there, but you know, when you got a team that likes to run the ball, if you can come out and just get 4 or 5 yards every time you run it, they're going to continue to do that.
We mentioned that turnover margin. Bethune-Cookman plus 2.5 turnovers per game. That's 1 already. Matt Johnson throws. He completes. Eddie Poole. And Poole is driven down by Kamari Everett. A gain of 10 yards on the play. It's going to be a first down for the Wildcats. Actually, it is going to be 3rd down and goal. That penalty was on 1st and goal. So it's 3rd down here. Matt Johnson pump fakes, and he ran into a roadblock. A roadblock named Chris Neal, number 99, got right in on the quarterback. A loss of 3 yards on the play. Now 4th down. Yeah, let's reset for you. After that turnover, there was that 15-yard penalty, but they were inside the 10-yard line. So it was a 1st and goal situation where they were backed up. So it was still 1st and goal, but after 2 unsuccessful plays in terms of getting into the end zone, it's now 4th and goal. 3 unsuccessful plays, really.
And my interpretation is, you know, you call the penalty, you move them back, but it's 1st down. You know, it's 1st and 10. They tried to say it was 1st and goal pretty much from the 23-yard line, which I think is incorrect, and that's what Coach Jenkins was really talking to, saying, hey, let's get some clarity, because the stadium official announced that it was 2nd and 22.
Right.
Whereas, you know, we had it as 2nd and 4.
And we've seen that happen a lot. Let's say on a big kickoff return, there's a block in the back. The ball will come back, but when you start, it's still 1st and 10.
Yes, and I think that's the case of what it should be now, and that's why Coach Jenkins was so animated with the scoreboard still saying 4th down and 17 yards to go.
4th and goal.
And with the field goal unit being probably one of the weaknesses of this Bethune-Cookman squad, you know, they want to get as close to the goal line as they can.
All right, let's see if they clarify for us here.
There was a discrepancy in setting up the change. It is 2nd down, 8.
Yeah, so we were right up here, down on the field. It didn't really make a lot of sense. It's 2nd down and 8, and this is something you don't often see from an officiating crew, but that penalty again was on the kickoff. So you shouldn't be penalized in terms of down and distance, especially in the distance area. That's what they did, and you know, we figured, hey, it was 1st and 10. That's how you were setting it up. All of a sudden you look up, hey, it's 3rd and 13. It's 4th and goal. It didn't make a lot of sense.
And at the end of the day, let's give credit. At least they got it right.
They did.
You know, they rectified it and they didn't allow it to continue.
And North Carolina A&T just can't catch any break.
Can't catch any break.
Already down 13-0, and Bethune-Cookman now, instead of facing a field goal attempt, and the kicking has been a weakness on this team, they've got a 2nd and 8. And more whistles.
Well, this is one way to slow down the Speedway offense. Don't let them play.
This is a caution coming out, right? This is a caution.
Yeah, but the problem is they're in the pit stop right now. They're getting new tires. They're getting fresh tires. They're getting some new gasoline, changing the windshield on there.
Pit stop, it feels like a red flag. At least a yellow flag at the very least. Now it's 3rd down on the sideline. There's still some confusion as to the down and distance. Brian Jenkins is still confused. Officials right now are trying to figure out down and distance. As silly as it sounds, that's what's happening right now. Clementhal, the referee.
Correction. 3rd down and 3 yards.
So did they gain 5 yards on 2nd and 8?
We went from 2nd and 8. Now it's 3rd and 3.
And this is somewhere.
Play it again, Sam. Play it again.
Yeah, but both coaches are upset. I mean, nothing good comes out of this, and they have a right to be.
All right, so 3rd and 3 apparently, and that's a run right up the middle. More flags come in, and yes, the Speedway offense has come to a screeching halt at the 4:11 mark of the first quarter.
Personal foul. Face mask, number 91 of the defense. 15-yard penalty, half the distance to the goal. First down.
Take a look here. They call the face mask on the tag. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a bad one. You actually spun the running back completely around in a 360. Those are one of those dangerous face masks. Brandon Hill, gotta release that. Gotta release it.
Brandon Hill grabbed the face mask of Isidore Jackson. So now it's 1st and goal for real. Jackson scampers down to about the 3-yard line to pick up a 5 yards on the play. 2nd and goal. It was Deshaun Graham who finally brought him down. This is Jackson again. Touchdown. Bethune-Cookman. 19-0. The Wildcats just blitzing the Aggies here in the first quarter.
And it all starts when there's no need to put the ball in the air, when you don't have to, when you continue to dominate the line of scrimmage and force your will upon the opposing team's defensive line. They're just pounding the North Carolina A&T Aggies early in this first quarter.
Bethune-Cookman missed an extra point after their first touchdown, a 28-yard run by Matt Johnson, so they're going to go for 2 here. They brought in Andros Bell. He's the running back. Isidore Jackson scored that last touchdown, and now Maurice Francois checking into the game. He's the slot receiver, and we just lost power. The whole stadium is in complete darkness right now. There's flashlights.
Wow. Never ever.
Wow. Those were cell phones that you just saw a minute ago. We've lost power up here in the press box. We're not even sure if
we don't know if you guys are getting the audio at home.
Yeah. But right now there seems to be a bit of controlled chaos. The lights went on for an instant, but all of a sudden power just went out. You see almost flashlights down below us. Really, they're cell phones. People using the LED monitor on their cell phones to kind of give us a sense of where we were. But
we're the only, that's the only light you see right there up at us. Not enough light on the field, so they can see us in the press box.
You can see the lights in the press box. Everywhere else, it's complete and utter darkness down below. This is something you don't see. The lights just went out.
Wow, you call it chaos, confusion.
We were going to talk about chaos later in the game.
I don't know. Did they get the kickoff? Did he make the extra point, or they were going setting up to go for the for the 2-point conversion? They didn't get a chance to snap the ball. So
last week we were at Alcorn State. We had about a 25-minute delay as the lights go back off again. So now we've lost power here in the press box.
Yeah, we don't even have lights now.
Yeah, so we can't see the information in front of us. I know you're wearing a white shirt. Now the lights are back on here in the press box, and
now they're back off.
We're going to have to use our our cell phones here up in the press box.
I feel like Jay-Z and Beyonce go appear on the stage,
concert, right?
With all the lights in the crowd.
This is unreal. This is unreal.
Hey, this is like,
and you have to worry about safety issues now. You have to worry about safety issues at this point. I mean, this is complete. All right, well, play is about to resume very shortly here in Daytona Beach, Florida. Bethune-Cookman leads 19-0. We want to thank those viewers who've been watching and who've been patient with us. And if you're just joining us now, well, Jay, we've had a surreal evening, to say the least.
I think so. You know, not the normal night of college football, but hey, at the end of the day, they're going to play the game.
It was 13-0 Bethune-Cookman when Isidore Jackson went in for a touchdown to make it 19-0. They're lining up for 2, and then darkness, power outage. A transformer apparently blew down the street. All power was lost. You see the fans holding up their cell phones as LED lights. And that was basically the only lights in the stadium for a while.
I thought we were getting ready to see a concert, and then all of a sudden you saw the big transformer blow right behind the stadium, and you knew we were in for some type of delay.
And then finally and slowly the lights started to come back on after about an hour-and-a-half delay, and the teams began to warm up. They took the field. They have about 15 minutes to warm up. But all this, there's a little bit of foreshadowing. Look at the program. Blackout event is how this game was dubbed by the athletic staff, and it is indeed a blackout event.
Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. I'm not sure they
planned it this way, but that's what it turned into, and we're going to have some football. This game is going to resume. Again, it's a MEAC game. It's a conference game, so they basically have to do what it takes to get it in. And we found out if they weren't getting it in tonight, they were going to resume 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, so they're going to go out and play. And I guess you got to say it's unfortunate for both teams in a sense, but I think Bethune-Cookman had all that momentum going, so they've got to be the one that's the team that's hurt the most, because they were clicking on all cylinders. North Carolina A&T had a chance to regroup and maybe make some strategy changes, because they were clearly getting outplayed in the first quarter.
All right, Jay, you played in the MEAC, former quarterback. What's the mindset of a player right now?
You want to get the win, at this point. I think if you're North Carolina A&T, what you've got to do is get yourself to forget about those the first 12 minutes of this football contest and focus on the task at hand. Try and get back in this game. If you're Bethune-Cookman, you can't let up. You had them on the ropes. You want to keep them on the ropes. Keep trying to press the issue, stick with your game plan. And the good thing I've noticed here, surprisingly, is the Wildcat fans, the student sections, they didn't go home. They filled back up their student section. The band stayed to tough it out.
The band, indeed, they're sitting right below us. We're up in the press box. The band is literally right below us, and the band is all there. You see Brian Jenkins, the head coach for Bethune-Cookman. He's got to come up with a play again. We're going to resume play where we left off, a 2-point conversion. And Jay, if I remember correctly, before it went to darkness, you wondered, did they get the 2-point conversion?
I wasn't sure, but and that's something I think we should be thankful for. Just imagine had the lights gone out and they were in the middle of a play.
Yeah.
You would have had some serious injuries. So some good things occurred by taking place while there was a lull in the action on the field. So, and I also think now what you have to really worry about is injuries.
Clement Hall is the head referee, and it looks like they're about to make an announcement.
Bethune-Cookman has called a timeout.
Whoa, now an hour or so delay wasn't enough time for them to get the strategy together, so they call a timeout.
Well, in their defense, I'm sure they were wondering at one point, are they even going to play?
We want the ball in the middle.
That's where some of the officials should have just said, Coach, you don't need to call time. I'll give you an extra minute.
We want the ball in the middle.
All right, for more right now, let's go down to the sideline and Charlie Neal. Charlie, what do you got for us?
Well, one of the things that they've already decided to do was cut the halftime down. Normally a halftime at a football game is 20 minutes, and normally both bands go out and they play. They normally have about 8 to 10 minutes apiece to perform at halftime. Bethune-Cookman's band, as Jay mentioned earlier, is here. They will perform at halftime, but the halftime now has been cut to 13 minutes so they can try to move this game along, because again, you got to look at the time that they're resuming this contest. We're talking like it's just about 10 o'clock, almost 10 o'clock. So here we go for the 2-point conversion. Well, they're going to go for the PAT, I think.
Yeah, extra point this time. So Brian Jenkins changed his mind. Corey Kowalski drills the extra point. It's 20-0 Bethune. It took about an hour and 40 minutes for Bethune to score 1 point.
Yeah, for the point after conversion. But, and I wonder what made them change their mind in terms of going for 2 or going for 1. I mean, the book says, the coaching book they use says that you go for 2 when you're up by 19. They decided to go for 1, so it'll be interesting to see what caused that change.
All right. Look at the scoring drive. It was an hour and 43 minutes from the first play to the extra point. One of the longest scoring drives in college football history. I'm not basing that on any factual evidence, just assuming there. Bethune-Cookman up 20-0 with 3:37 to go. Before they get set for the kickoff, one thing we should mention, the Daytona Beach police came in here. They were running security while the power is out. They did a commendable job. The students, The fans, I thought they did a commendable job in terms of holding the composure. We've seen sometimes these events get out of hand when there's a power outage, when there's a blackout, but really they got through this without incident.
And both schools did a fantastic job. You know, we had a chance to sit there and be privy to some of the meetings going on with the A&T program and the Bethune-Cookman program, and they were all on the same page. Safety first, and then we'll get to football when we get a chance to get back to football safely. And I want to give a good job to Patricia Porter here representing the MEAC office. They were on board, as well as athletic director Lynn Thompson from Bethune-Cookman. They really handled everything in a professional manner, did a good job.
Another short kickoff. Torian Warren fields this one, gets across the 40-yard line. Remember, on that last touchdown drive, and you may have to jog your memory, it was all set up because Torian Warren fumbled a similar kickoff. We're also now hearing some news that the transformer that went down, which caused the power outage right down the street, the result of the power outage was because lightning had struck the transformer coming into the game. We did hear from the weather people that thunderstorms and lightning were in the forecast, and now we're hearing that lightning did in fact strike the transformer not far from here. North Carolina A&T on offense. This is Mike Mayhew, and Mayhew gets into Bethune-Cookman territory. Again, at 21 yards on the play. Arkey Smith with the tackle.
And although Bethune-Cookman jumped out to the early lead, A&T had some ability moving the ball. I mean, they moved the ball across midfield on each of their previous possessions. They just haven't been able to capitalize and put points on the board. And when they did move the ball, it was sparked by the running game with Mike Mayhew.
Yeah, it seems this is the area where their offense is stalled. And we have to jog our memories a little bit. There's still 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Seems like we've been here forever.
I think we have.
Mayhew again. And he gets across the 35-yard line. A gain of 5 yards on the play. Ryan Lewis on the stop, and Mayhew, he is the MEAC's leading rusher. 5 100-yard rushing games this season. He's a workhorse back, and he gets the ball here on second down, and there goes Mayhew. Inside the 10, down to about the 5-yard line. A 28-yard pickup. Mayhew over 50 yards rushing on this drive.
Yeah, they set up like they were going to do a fake over the ball, muddle huddle, and they said, hey, they're not ready. Go ahead and call the play. He gets to the outside. That's a question that was answered. Was Mike Mayhew and the A&T offense going to be ready after the delay? And he's definitely running very hard with the football.
And that's Mayhew wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage, but a flag on the play.
Substitution against the defense. Half the distance to the goal, still first down.
Whoa, now, we thought we would see some of those penalties called, but we thought it would be from A&T trying to substitute some players in, because Bethune-Cookman likes to go no huddle and get players in and out very fast. Well, they got caught. You know what I always tell you, it's the same things that make you laugh. Sometimes they make you cry.
We're also seeing A&T pick up the pace of their offense a little bit. They were very deliberate in their first few drives. So first and goal now from the 2. This is George Hines. He's going to try to do it himself. No, that's not George Hines. That's Ricky Lewis out of the Wildcat. And that's where they'll use Lewis, and he came in out of the Wildcat. He can run, he can pass, he can catch. He goes in for a touchdown, and that's got to make Alonzo Lee, the head coach for this North Carolina A&T team, feel pretty good. After that big delay, they come right down the field and score a touchdown.
They can, with the conversion of this PAT, can go in down by 13 points in the first quarter, which is something you say, hey, we can overcome that. They moved the ball, and they had the ability to punch it in the end zone, so it's going to be an interesting late night of football.
Sullivan Schindler's kick is good. You were going to say first half, weren't you?
Yeah.
It's already been a late night.
Yeah, just the Wildcat formation. No need to fake it to the guy going across the formation. If it's that open and that much daylight around the outside, then go ahead and just tuck it right away and run and get in the end zone.
Ricky Lewis will see some time in the Wildcat, and they'll even throw the ball with Ricky Lewis a little bit because he's got that kind of potential. He was a quarterback in high school. Led his high school team, Dudley High in Greensboro, North Carolina, to back-to-back state championships, undefeated both seasons. But they kind of like him in sort of that Pat White mold, if you will.
And that's, the question I get when you go around is, well, you're going to start seeing more Wildcat quarterbacks get drafted to the National Football League. And, you know, the Wildcat is a great college offense. Just like I think the Wishbone was a great college offense. But in the NFL, guys are too big, too fast, too strong. You can use it in doses. But I think one of the greatest college Wildcat-type quarterbacks was Pat White. And you see what happened with him in Miami Dolphins when he got hit by a defensive back. So,
short kick fielded at the 30 and taken to about the 35-yard line. Let's get you caught up. Bethune-Cookman's first touchdown. Well, this was Matt Johnson, the quarterback. 28-yard keeper. Basically had everybody fooled on that play. And then Isidore Jackson punching it in. And can we get one more from Jackson? How about an encore? He's got 2 TDs in this game. Ricky Lewis on that Wildcat scoring for North Carolina A&T. Once again, with Jay Walker, I'm Anish Shroff. We're at Municipal Stadium in Daytona Beach, Florida. Charlie Neal down on the sideline. ESPNU College Football Primetime presented by McDonald's. North Carolina A&T and Bethune-Cookman. Johnson throws and completes on first down across midfield and into A&T territory. It's Eddie Poole.
Oh, yeah. See, now we got a game now. See, once you strike up the band again and, you know, you get on the field, it's not official till the band starts to play. And, you know, I always say this is one of the more active vocal bands in all of black college football. I mean, right now the rules are you can't play music right now, so they're dancing. They're swinging back and forth, singing, and then when the play snap, they'll go back to playing some music.
A run on first down, and that's Andros Bell, a gain of 3 yards. It'll bring up 2nd down and 7. Brandon Jackson, middle linebacker for A&T, number 10, making the stop. And you can see the band. That hour and 40-minute delay didn't deter their spirit.
No, they said you can cut the time on halftime, but make sure you do leave time for the band to perform. And I agree with them. You've never seen them before.
On 2nd and 7, this is a run. And a solid pickup there by Maurice Francois. Former quarterback turned wide receiver.
Yeah, and you know, you say former quarterback, former starting quarterback for this Wildcat offense. And he was one of the guys that when the new offensive coordinator, Mark Orlando, came in and changed up the offense, they liked his athleticism. So they said, well, we got to get you on the field. So he's been making progress as a wide receiver.
And he prefers to play that receiver position as Johnson takes off far sideline. And he scuttles out of bounds after a gain of 3 yards. It'll bring up 2nd down.
But one of the things that North Carolina A&T is going to have to do, the offense seems like they figured out what they're going to do, pound in the football. Defensive line for North Carolina A&T has to man up a little bit. They can't get driven off the line of scrimmage like they were prior to the lightning delay.
4-wide formation, and this is a run straight up the gut. It's going to be shy of a first down, gain of about 5 on the play. Andros Bell again on the carry. Tyree Harris took him down.
And now when we talk to the Bethune coach staff, they said when you're a former option team that throws the football now, when you get 3rd and short, you've got your whole playbook. We can run it, we can throw it, we can do whatever we want to, and that's really why they've been able to score so many points with their 3rd down conversions.
Another run, it's Bell again, and he looks to have a first down, and that will be the final play of this first quarter. A first quarter that started, what, around 7:35? That's about 10:04 Eastern right now. So that's your standard 2.5-hour first quarter. Bethune-Cookman up 27, end of 1.
ESPNU Tailgate, Saturday beginning at 9 a.m. on ESPNU.
As we start the second quarter here at Municipal Stadium in Daytona Beach, here's Bethune-Cookman's Isidore Jackson scoring on a 2-yard run. Then the lights went out. That came with 3:37 left in the first quarter. And after a long delay, of course, the fans put their cell phones on. Here's Ricky Lewis with a 2-yard run. And that put North Carolina A&T on the board as we start the second quarter here in Daytona Beach. Now back upstairs to Anish and Jay.
All right, thank you, Charlie. Bethune-Cookman with the football. Ball on the North Carolina A&T 23-yard line. It's going to be 4th and 1 for the Wildcats as we start the second quarter. And go on the ground. It's the quarterback again, Matt Johnson. And he picks up a first down. Jay, his burst of speed is just impressive. When he gets into that second level, he has a second level. I just repeated myself. You know what I meant, though.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind what it is. He's not a quarterback that can run. He is an option quarterback that can pass. So the difference being is when he decides to run, he's a playmaker running the football. He's not just running the daylight. He's got the moves and the shakes to create and make people miss. So it's like having an extra running back out there.
This is the running back, Andros Bell. He doesn't get much. In that first quarter, Bethune-Cookman more than 220 yards of total offense, more than 150 yards on the ground. North Carolina A&T this season, they're giving up more than 215 on the ground per game, and it looks like the Wildcats want to exploit that weakness. Johnson fumbled the snap on the run. He throws, he completes, and taken down immediately. By Brandon Hover is Javon Reams, who caught that last football.
Put that in perspective, 223 yards of total offense.
First quarter.
In the first quarter. Woo! That's why they lead the nation in the conference in so many categories and the #2 scoring offense in the country.
Johnson again under pressure. Let's see if he tucks it and runs. He does. Finally brought down from behind. But after a solid pickup, and Johnson now over 100 yards rushing in this game. Tony Mashburn finally pulled him down from behind.
Man, look at the speed here by Johnson. Going to outrun the outside linebacker, Jeremy Graham. I mean, take his angle from him. That's how you know you're dealing with speed, when the defensive back has to change his angle and try to slide in there. Didn't quite get in, but look at the athleticism and the speed and the quick burst by Matt Johnson.
Johnson out of the gun. They give it to Bell. Dives for the end zone, and he is in. Bethune has scored again, and they have now scored on their first 4 possessions of this game, 26-7.
Doesn't take them long. I mean, it's the Speedway offense, and they are running on all cylinders right now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, they don't really use the brake.
Do they have a V8 or is it a V12?
They got the best one. I'm not a car guy. That extra point is no good. Looked like it was blocked. Second missed extra point for Bethune-Cookman. But they're up 26-7. Andros Bell, the 3rd different player to score, 4th rushing TD of the game for the Wildcats.
ESPNU College Football Primetime is presented by the Capital One Cup. To learn more, go to CapitalOneCup.com. Let's update the MEAC standings for those who may have just tuned in. Of course, Bethune-Cookman sitting on top of the conference with a 4-0 conference mark, 7-0 overall, while North Carolina A&T is in a 3-way tie for that #4 spot. They are 1-4. Now let's go back upstairs to Anish and Jay.
All right, Charlie, that's Andros Bell, scored the last touchdown for Bethune-Cookman, capping an 11-play, 65-yard drive. They did it all in less than 4 minutes. Speedway offense indeed.
You know, we see one of the adjustments in the first half of the first quarter. Can I say that? First half of the first quarter, A&T struggled with their kickoff return, so they made the adjustment, move their men up. And then what happens?
They kick it right over their heads.
Kick it right over their heads. So right now, the battle of kickoff coverage and kickoff return, the chess game is being won by Brian Jenkins and Bethune-Cookman.
Well, part of the reason is one of North Carolina A&T's kickoff men, Justin Farrell, one of the best in the nation. We'll get to that in just a second. But first, we remind you, coverage of ESPN Rise High School football continues Friday night in South Carolina. The Burns Rebels take on the Dorman Cavaliers, the future stars of football today. The ESPN Rise High School football showcase presented by Nike. ESPNU Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And they go to the ground on first down. The Aggies do. Mike Mayu again. He's been getting the bulk of the carries for this North Carolina A&T football team. He's up to 92 yards, seeking his 6th 100-yard rushing game of the season. And Mayu again on second down. Solid game.
And one thing, I'm very impressed with Mike Mayhew. You see him on paper, the numbers stand out. Anytime you get a good running back is going to average around 4 yards a carry. Once you start getting closer to averaging 5 yards per carry, that means you've got the ability to make somebody miss, and you can run with power as well as grace, and he's been very impressive. The one bright spot they've had on this A&T offense, besides the quarterback play in recent weeks.
On third down, Hines throws, and he completes. That's Buster Cooper with the reception.
And we talk about Mike Mayhew. What can he do? Well, look at the explosiveness. Good vision to the outside to find where the hole is, make a guy miss, and then deliver a blow at the end of the run. So that's what you like to see. You know, when you see the power, and is he delivering blows or taking blows and lowering that shoulder? Great pad level.
A run, and Mayhew that time met at the line of scrimmage. A host of black shirts made sure he didn't get anywhere, and Mayhew looked like he took a pretty big lick on that play.
He's a tough one. He'll keep going. And I think one thing we can never emphasize enough is the fact that George Hines stepping up as a quarterback. And I've been very impressed. He's got a nice, strong arm, accurate passer. They say they were having trouble with the quarterback position. That's why the offense struggled so much, and they lost so many games early on. But since he's come in, he's got a spark. And, you know, I feel like the coaches, I'm disappointed he's not going to be able to play for 4 years. He's only going to have one and done his senior year because he played baseball at North Carolina A&T for 4 years. But, wow, he could have been a tremendous talent had he played all 4 years.
Hines has time, throws over the middle, completes. Wallace smiles, and now they're saying incomplete. It hit the ground.
I mean, go in the right place with the football, good recognition. If the line would have given him a little bit more protection, he couldn't step into that throw, so he had to throw it off of his back leg. That's a very difficult throw to make, but consider the fact he threw a ball about 25 yards downfield on a rope off his back leg. Lets you know what type of arm strength that George Hines has.
So now 3rd and 10. We're probably going to see Hines go to the air again here. Wallace smiles, top of your screen, the slot receiver. Hines looking, pass is tipped and picked off. Bethune-Cookman takes it back inside the 10-yard line. Ryan Davis, the big fella on the D-line, 6'4", 240-pound junior, getting his mitts on that one, and a second turnover of the game for the Aggies.
Yeah, just a tip ball. You see, once you're taught, hey, if you can't get to the quarterback, look up in the air and jump. So that was a great job by Eric Williams on one side, elevating and tipping that ball into the air. And then Ryan Davis, great recognition, great athleticism to make the catch and become a running back.
Aggies still unsettled on defense. Bethune-Cookman trying to get a playoff. They do. It's a run play. And this is Andros Bell, and he's inside the 5-yard line. Gain of 6 yards on the play. We talked way back when, before the power outage, about Bethune-Cookman's ability to win the turnover battle. Plus 2.5 per game on the season. One of the best marks in the nation, the best mark in the nation.
You find me a team that's winning the turnover margin by 2 per game. I'll show you a team that's winning football games.
That's too easy. Isidore Jackson, his 3rd rushing touchdown of the game, 32-7 here at the 10:37 mark.
That's the mark of a good football team. You turn it over, good football teams make you pay. They come out and they have that category called points off of turnovers. A good team will make you pay each and every time.
This is the only thing Bethune-Cookman hasn't done well all game. They've missed 2 extra points.
Wow.
And apparently they've missed another one. That's the 3rd PAT that they've missed. But they still have a 32-7 lead with 10:35 to play. Isidore Jackson, he's got the hat trick, 3 TDs in this ball game.
Hi, I'm Reese Davis.
32-7 our score here. Isidore Jackson, 3 touchdowns for Bethune, and they lead North Carolina A&T here in the second quarter. Want to check out the latest edition of the Sheridan poll. We find the Tigers of Grambling State University holding on to the #1 spot, but this Bethune-Cookman team is in 2nd place and one of only 3 FCS teams that are unbeaten this season. And of course, Appalachian State is one along with Jacksonville State. They're ranked 1 and 2 in the Sports Network poll. Division II, Albany State is in 3rd, followed by South Carolina State and Winston-Salem. Rounding out the top 10, Tuskegee, Jackson State, Hampton, Morehouse, and St. Aug. Very interesting this week, huh, gentlemen?
I think it really is, especially, when you look at the Sheridan poll, that's a combination. So that's all historically black colleges and universities. So you've got FCS schools, and then you saw Albany State there. Albany State is their Division II football. So that's what you get there, the combination. But Bethune-Cookman, I guarantee you, they weren't in those top 10 rankings for the Sheridan poll.
This is Torian Warren. Look out. He's across midfield. There's a flag on the play at the 30. Warren off to the races. He's in the end zone, but a flag coming down at the 30-yard line. You saw a player in a black jersey just go down, and then a flag came flying in. This one looks like it's coming back.
The block in the back that wasn't even needed at all. Unnecessary block in the back. Warren was clearly going to make it to the end zone.
Clement Hall is the referee.
During the return, block in the back, number 83 of the offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
They got Devin Stewart on the block in the back, and we talked about earlier, and we sort of left the thought hanging, but first let's look at this kick return.
Let's take a look on your right side there. I mean, he's
well, I think you saw
right
it there.
Yeah, that right there on the left side of your screen there. You see, Warren was clearly already making it to the end zone and made the cut, but that's just one of those things that, that's the difference between having an undefeated football team and a team that's won 1 game all season.
Mike Mayu on first down, a burst of speed, and he gets across the 30-yard line. We've seen a bit of a cat and mouse game on the kickoffs. That's what I was going to talk about just before we showed you that replay. And they had Justin Farrell back deep, and in Justin Farrell, he hasn't returned 1 kick so far. He's the MEAC's leading kick returner. He's taken 3 kicks back, number 4 in the nation. They were kicking him short early, and we saw Torian Warren have trouble handling it. That last kickoff, Farrell was the deep guy. They had Warren about 10 yards in front of him. Warren got a clean break, but a block in the back prevented a touchdown. 1st and 10 after that run by Mayu. Hines getting the play from the sideline. Mayu again turns the corner, and he gets inside the 20-yard line. Impressive what he's doing against one of the better defenses in the nation.
I mean, he's definitely the bright spot. You can tell the talent is there, and that's why, he's their best offensive player. They got excited down at Aggie land for the fact that now if we got a quarterback that can deliver the ball to go along with this running back, now we've got a 1-2 punch. So they just need some more of the pieces of the puzzle to come together, and that's what they're trying to do. And just to go back on one thing you talked about with the return game, if Bethune-Cookman is looking towards postseason play, if you're going to try and win in the playoffs, you can't play special teams the way they play special teams. You don't have the ability to kick an extra point in the postseason. That'll just really hurt you. And you start getting into some close contests, they've got to do something to shore up this special teams kicking game, or else this is all just smoke and mirrors.
On the ground again, and fighting for some tough yards. How about a gain of 3 yards on the play? That's Dominique Drake on the carry. And we will say this, their starting kicker, Seven Hurd, is out with an injury. Corey Kowalski, who's normally their punter, handling the kicking duties today, but really even Hurd, when he's been healthy, hasn't had a lot of success. Drake again, and he gets down to about the 13-yard line. Give him a couple on the play. Ryan Lewis in on the stop.
And we know that Bethune likes to funnel everything inside. They want the linebackers to make tackles, so the adjustment they've made is they've had their 2 defensive ends rush hard up the field just to force the running backs to cut inside first before they can bounce to the outside. Because A&T's had plenty of success exploiting the edges of the perimeter offensively with their running game. So now it's not there anymore, you see? So that's that adjustment. So basically what they're telling North Carolina A&T, we recognize what you're trying to do. We're not going to let you do it. If you're going to run the football, you got to run straight ahead. We're not going to let you run east-west and pick up all the yardage you've been doing.
A couple of flags on the field after that last carry by Dominique Drake. And despite the score, they have moved the ball against this Bethune-Cookman D.
Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 77 of the offense. 15-yard penalty, still second down.
That's big Alex Harper, the guard there, number 77. So you see him coming there and just cheap shot him. Oh, no place for that in football.
A little frustration, perhaps.
And Harper's been playing a great game, but guy comes in to a defensive position, taking a cheap shot like that. There's no place for that in college football or any level of football.
They knocked Mike London right down, and he got called. Hines is going to throw here. Throwing, and that one was nearly picked off. Ozzie Slater had his mitts on it. Couldn't quite come up with it.
You're going to see trying to stick the ball down the seam. The weakness of the 3-deep zone. That's how you play drop chase linebacker from that slot position of the nickel package in there running down the seam, and that close to having that interception.
George Hines, the quarterback, number 15 for this A&T offense. This is only his third start and playing the best defense he's faced to date. 2 of 9, 18 yards and interception so far, but you got to remember, this was a guy who wasn't even on the team's roster when the season started. He came in mid-season, said, hey, I want to play quarterback, and they were searching for an answer. So they went to him. Throws this one up. That could be trouble, but it's caught. Caught by Dante Prince. 6'4", 185. You're going to throw it up to the big guy.
That's what you want to do, and this is a one-on-one. If I can get some type of one-on-one coverage on the outside, take a chance, put plenty of air on the ball, and allow Prince to readjust and go up and get it.
And he was going up against Daniel Rhodes, 5'10", 190. That's like me and you, 5'10" and 6'4".
And I'm going to beat you every time.
On first and goal, this is Drake. No signal yet, and now the official on the far side says touchdown. And North Carolina A&T cuts it to 32-13. Dominique Drake, his first rushing touchdown of the season.
They're just getting it down there, punching it in after the great reception by Dante Prince.
Sullivan Schittler on for the point after. Kick is good. It's 32-14. Bethune-Cookman still up big. But how about the former center fielder turned quarterback? Big pass downfield to Dante Prince, setting up a score.
Welcome to McDonald's. May I take...
Following a Notre Dame football practice, and also North Carolina State at home mounting a rally against the big, bad Florida State Seminoles from the ACC.
All right, thank you, Lowell.
Whenever you got a good quarterback, you're never out of it. You know, and one thing we can say about Russell Wilson, he's a good quarterback.
Probably after the first 4 games, he was probably the front runner for ACC Player of the Year, but NC State season has taken a turn. We'll see if they can mount a rally, though, as Lowell was talking about all that coming up at halftime. Lowell and Charles Arbuckle.
Yeah, you know, you'd have thought that whoever won that game would probably be able to get ACC Player of the Year, but now I think, you know, Tyrod Taylor's played his way back into that mix.
This time, North Carolina A&T went with the short kick. And how about this? Out of the pack, Andros Bell emerged with the football, and he gets all the way down to the 36-yard line.
How did he not go down? I thought he was down.
There is a flag on the play. Well, these kickoffs have been high on drama so far. We've had a fumble. Looked like Bethune nearly broke one there. Had a touchdown called back.
Offsides on the kicking team. 5 yards will be added to the dead ball spot.
Let's take a look at that return and see The good balance shown by the return. Ball's on the ground, it gets hit, and it was this, never was down, just went up and picked up on it. If you're going to do a short kick, you should have bodies all around the football. They had too much time to make the adjustment.
That was David Blackwell, not Andros Bell. That's Isidore Jackson. Gain of 3, second down and 7. Chris Neal brought him down.
Now, if you had to compare this Bethune-Cookman team to a team on the FBS level,
you want to say Oregon in terms of how quickly they get their plays off.
I think that would be the natural comparison with the points that they score and the numbers that they put up during the season. But you also got to say this, and I don't know if they're necessarily showing it tonight. Their defense is pretty good. Oregon has got a first-class offense. Defense gets questioned, gets challenged at times. Bethune-Cookman seems to have first-class offense, first-class defense.
Thing is, when you're up by so much in so many games, you make the other team one-dimensional. They've got to throw the ball to catch up. Isidore Jackson got the ball for the 3rd straight time. He's taken down for a loss of 2 with the 35. Making the tackle, Tony Mashburn, number 54.
And you can tell by that, by that play call there that they were going to go for it. If you can't kick a field, you can't kick an extra point. You definitely can't kick a field goal. So
it's just sort of no man's land here. And again, Corey Kowalski, their punter, is handling the place-kicking duty. So 4th down, they're going for it here.
Yeah, they're spreading them out. Keep an eye on the quarterback, though. Matthew Johnson, very mobile.
Johnson throws, and it's in and out of the hands of Eddie Poole.
That was a touchdown. That was a great read, great recognition. Ball goes right off the 3. Look at this. He knows where he's going. Good pre-snap read right there in that window. Oh, man.
And in the numbers.
Yeah, he catch that one. He's catch that, make one cut, walk into the end zone, strike up the band.
So a turnover on downs for Bethune-Cookman, and this is the first time that North Carolina A&T has stopped the Wildcats from reaching the end zone. Bethune had scored on its first 5 drives.
And I don't know if you can say the Aggies stopped Bethune-Cookman. I think Bethune-Cookman stopped themselves. They dropped that pass.
There's Mike Mayu, and he's got nowhere to go. Taken down by Reggie Sandilands.
Once again, talking about those linebackers, and so now they've made the change, and the linebackers are starting to become more and more active in this contest, moving them around, putting them in positions to make plays.
Hines throws, completes, and his receiver paid the price. That was Devin Stewart, the tight end.
The late throw all the way across the field. You see he's on this left hash, throwing the ball all the way across, and the ball stays in the air that long. Give the cornerback as well as the safety an opportunity to put a pretty good hit on your tight end, Devin Stewart, there.
So this brings up 3rd and 12. Make it 3rd and 8. Here's the pressure. Hines throws. Ooh, his receiver kept on running. The ball didn't quite reach him, and that was nearly intercepted.
Yeah, they brought the linebacker and the pressure up the middle and had 4 people back in coverage. And, one way you test the quarterback is testing his blitz coverage, let them know. And good pressure brought on the outside by Ryan Davis again, followed up by Jamil Farrington, putting pressure on the quarterback. But one way you can test the quarterback's IQ and grasp from the offense is make him go to their hot read. That's one of the toughest things to learn is, hey, when they do bring pressure, who do I go to? That's when you have to think as a quarterback. And it seems like whenever they brought pressure, George Hines has not been able to convert against the blitz. And until you stop it, you're going to keep seeing it over and over again.
Alex Scrub with the punt. Courtney Keith watches it bounce. And it'll bounce and roll. And it goes out of bounds at around the 32-33 line. ESPNU's coverage of college football continues Saturday with 2 games. A Big East battle in the Queen City. Ryan Nassib and Syracuse take on Cincinnati. Zach Collaros may not play for the Bearcats. Then at 7 Eastern, it's an SEC showdown. Mike Hartline leads the Kentucky Wildcats against Dan Mullen's Mississippi State Bulldogs. Mississippi State had a scare in its last game. It's college football on ESPNU and ESPNU HD. Boy, Kentucky's been tough to figure out. Nearly beat Auburn, beat South Carolina. And they've had some bad losses as well. This is Andros Bell on the screen pass, and he gets across midfield. He just refuses to go down.
Good timing on the screen play, good misdirection. Everything on this play says we're going to the right. 3 receivers there, tight end running a crossing route. All he does is act like he's going to block, sneak over to the left side. Got an entourage of blockers. Good setup.
That pass tipped and nearly intercepted Eddie Poole, the intended target, as Johnson was thrown on the run.
Good swarming defense there. That's probably the one ill-advised pass we've seen Johnson make this evening. Forced that ball in the coverage there when the Aggies had good defense.
4 wide here on 2nd and 10. This is a run. Johnson, let's see if he can turn the corner. Taken down. Nice tackle in the backfield by Justin Farrell, the junior from Danville, Virginia. And Farrell a little gimpy at the end of that play. I don't see a flag on the field, but the officials are huddling up here. Let's listen to Clement Hall. Oh, they finally caught him with a legal substitution. You mentioned Bethune, the way they run that offense.
Legal substitution. 12 men on the field on the defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And that's one of the things that they like to do. They like to call plays in bunches and in a hurry. I mean, Bethune-Cookman, they run plays so fast that they've been penalized before for not giving the opposing defense enough time to get set and situated on the field. So that's one there where they're going to get plan. They're going to get about 3 or 4 of those a game. Yeah. And it's tough. I mean, the tough part about that is you have to spend so much time in practice devoted to substitution, more time than you normally would. So it's hard to do it in a short work week when you got a Thursday night game and you got to spend so much time just working on your substitution packages.
.325 to play in the first half. In a bridge halftime here.
3 minutes, 38 seconds.
3 minutes and 38 seconds, says Clement Hall. We already had, what, a hour and 40-minute delay due to power outage, and just tack on 13 more seconds. What's 13 seconds at this point, right?
13 seconds between friends and teammates.
Jackson breaks one tackle, still on his feet, and he's down to about the 21-yard line, 8 yards on the play. Darion Mays finally dragged him down.
They're bringing outside pressure. So when they're going to blitz the outside linebacker, the top of your screen, 46, hey, run to where he is. That's the openness in the defense. Wherever the blitzing linebacker's coming from, good recognition of bouncing inside, then going back outside.
It's Jackson right up the middle, and boy, whether it's Andros Bell or Isidore Jackson, these guys, they can get the tough yards, and they can also beat you with their speed a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm very impressed with the job of the play selection by offensive coordinator Mark Orlando. I mean, he's got A&T just guessing. They don't know if they keep 4 down linemen or 3 linemen. They're just attacking where they are, where the weakness of the defense is, and that's what you're going to use. If you're going to use this, call the play from the sideline, you want to at least make sure you're calling a play that got the best chance of success in terms of where the weakness of the defense is, and they're recognizing everything right now.
On 1st and goal. That's right up the middle, and somehow Jackson didn't go down the first time, stayed on his feet. Let's see if they give him forward progress. Let's see where they mark him down.
Yeah, let's follow the football if we can. You know, he gets wrapped and spun around and wait. No.
Made something out of nothing.
Yeah, they couldn't find him. And I think the Aggie linebackers were looking for him, and they just couldn't see him.
I guess they did rule him down. They said his knee was down at the 10-yard line, so no gain on the play, but still pretty good body control nonetheless.
Yeah, we know better. We know he wasn't down at the 10-yard line.
On second and goal, Johnson, quick throw, corner of the end zone, touchdown! Javon Reams, there is a flag on the play.
Ooh-wee. Came in late. They're going to call him for the push-off, but it seemed it was so ever slight.
Offensive pass interference, number 81. 15-yard penalty, still second down.
Yeah, you see the ball's coming, and that little push right there is what he got called for. I mean, right there, the arms are already extended. And, you know, that little push right there. I've seen people get away with way more than that.
Sometimes you get away with that. That time he got caught trying to give himself a little space from Devontae Graham.
I think you see the defensive back's reaction. He was like, okay, so, oh yeah, okay, yeah, he did do it. At first, he didn't even act like it was a big deal. I just got beat, but got a little help from the official with the hanky.
Second and goal now from the 24-yard line, and late in the first half here, we're starting to see Bethune-Cookman take its time on offense. Johnson, he's going to run it. Got a good block from Isidore Jackson, and there goes Matt Johnson, his second rushing touchdown of the game. 24-yard scamper, aided by a terrific block by his running back.
Did you see how quickly he hit the hole? Watch his design quarterback draw. Look at the block on the outside by Isidore Jackson. And once he makes contact, split second later, here comes Matthew Johnson turning on the Jets. He hit that hole in a hurry, and great job by Isidore Jackson of just getting his body in the way.
Corey Kowalski on for the point after. These have been an adventure. This one hits the upright, but it goes in, a fortuitous bounce. Even when they've gone in, they haven't been exactly pretty. 39-14, North Carolina A&T. Really, if you're going to point to one weakness in this game, it's been special teams. A few missed PATs. I'm sure Brian Jenkins will get on his team about that in the off week.
Yeah, pushed it to the right, but got the ricochet.
Yes. All right, now let's go down to the field where Charlie Neal is standing by. Charlie?
Well, one thing we wanted to get our fans involved in is the Facebook. Log on to facebook.dot.com/ESPN today and become a fan. And tonight we'd like to have your opinion on the question of who will win the 2010 HBCU National Championship. Go back to the Sheridan poll. You see Grambling's on top. Will it be Grambling? Will it be Bethune-Cookman? Will it be Albany State? You know, they're ranked number 3. South Carolina State. Winston is 5. Tuskegee 6. Jackson State, Hampton, Morehouse, and St. Augustine. We'd like to hear your opinion. Log on to Facebook.com/ESPN.com, or ESPNU, I should say.
Jay?
Well, I think if Bethune-Cookman wins out, I think they will win. I think they will jump over Grambling. Seems to be a down year in the SWAC conference this year a little bit. And you know, they both teams have unfinished business, but I mean, if they slip up once, so you got some great teams there trying to replace them, and that Grambling team is very good.
Another short kick. This one fielded by Torian Warren. Down the right sideline. Warren pushed out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. He's had an eventful day on special teams. He fumbled one kick, which then led to a Bethune score. He took one back, which was called back on a block in the back penalty. And that time, again, Bethune tried the short kick. And this time,
that's
Warren
a mistake. You're making that mistake right there. Don't let the ball hit the turf. He's lucky he got a good bounce, and it came right to him. And then he just turned on the speed. I mean, they've got great protection set up front. But they're getting these returns in spite of making the fundamental flaw of allowing a kickoff to touch the ground.
70-yard return, and it seems they're trying to kick it away from Justin Farrell, who's averaging better than 31 yards a kick return this season. He leads the MEAC in that category. First and goal now. Mike Mayu fumbles it, but he falls right on top of it at the 9-yard line. And the clock ticking. Under 50 seconds to play. Alonzo Lee calls a timeout. It'll be second and goal.
So we talked about, who's going to be the 2010 national champion. And I think, Bethune-Cookman, the Cinderella story, but it's almost like we talk about the BCS. They start too far back in the preseason rankings. Look what they've got ahead of them. Hampton, who you saw, is one of those top 10 teams. Florida A&M, I mean, for Florida A&M to be 4-3, they're 3-1 in MEAC play. So they're still thinking, hey, that Florida Classic is going to mean something when we see them in Orlando. So.
And where's that game being played?
Orlando.
Citrus Bowl.
The loudest game you can go to in the country, just for the fact that you got 70,000 fans and you got two of the largest bands in one stadium. There's just not enough space.
And it's a neutral site game, but both teams will have its fans. Charlie?
Well, you're looking at Bethune-Cookman's schedule. They've got one real tough game in there, and that's that Howard game.
Hey, academic institution, Charlie, academic institution. But you do think, and Charlie, I know you get to become one of the voters on that national championship. Have they gotten to the point now where they're looking at the quality wins? If this was BCS and computer-driven, the formula, hey, if they got to beat Hampton, they would have to beat Florida A&M. Those are two quality wins.
They already beat South Carolina State. George Hines throws, end zone, and it's incomplete. He was going for his tight end, Devin Stewart. And it'll bring up third and goal. And I know if you're North Carolina A&T right now, you'd love to get 6 and at least give yourself a fighting chance in the second half.
Yeah, they've got to, especially considering where you were given the ball. It was a gift to get such great field position off the kickoff return.
They've moved the ball against Bethune-Cookman. They've been able to run the football. They just haven't been able to finish drives.
Yep, and I think, I think what happens is defenses play soft coverage, and once you cross the midfield, they go to exotic coverage and start bringing pressure, bringing blitz, and I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a kitchen sink blitz come after Hines right now.
And looks like we got another penalty. This could be a delay of game against the Aggies.
Delay a game on offense. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Alonzo Lee trying to fire up his troops. His second season as head coach of this Aggie program, his second stint with North Carolina A&T. He's basically been everywhere in the MEAC.
Seasoned veteran.
All right, third and goal now from the 14. Hines under pressure. His screen pass nearly intercepted. Fourth down coming up.
What a great job by Jamel Farrington there, recognizing that. They're bringing the blitz, but you got to have a guy spy. If they let you get upfield that quickly, you got to look around. He drops, he looks, he sees a bunch of black jerseys around the quarterback. Let me look for the ball. And he almost was rewarded with an interception, but that's good recognition.
We already saw one D lineman, Ryan Davis, come away with an interception. Sullivan Schidler on for the field goal. It's a 31-yarder. His long is 36. That was last week. And Schidler's kick is good. So he hits from 31. He's now just 3 of 9 on the season, but the Aggies will take it. It's now a 22-point game with 27 seconds to go here in the first half. And we remind you that coming up on the State Farm halftime report with Lowell Galindo and Charles Arbuckle, highlights from 16th ranked Florida State and North Carolina State, and plus the latest on the Notre Dame tragedy. Not something you want to see. Somebody helping the team, filming practice and falling. Just a terrible incident down in South Bend.
Yeah, no, that's a tough. You never like to see that. And nobody's, that's unprecedented. We haven't had that anyplace else in the country. So let's just hope family's doing well and the student body can stay together. And tough loss there.
It's been a tough few weeks in college football with what happened to Eric LeGrand, and you could see there Brian Jenkins used to coach at Rutgers. He's got LeGrand's initials and numbers, and when we spoke to him yesterday, he said when he found out that LeGrand was paralyzed from the neck down, that hit him. Courtney Keith on the return. Look at this. Close to the 35-yard line. Bethune-Cookman will have a chance with 15 seconds to play in the first half. He was actually taken down by the kicker, Sullivan Schindler. But to go back to Brian Jenkins and his ties to Rutgers, only spent one season there. But what do you say about Greg Schiano? Had such an impact on him and close to a lot of the players, and you can see even his team, the Wildcats, wearing LeGrand's number, number 52. Just a terrible injury that LeGrand suffered on a kickoff against Army a few weeks ago. Matt Johnson, he's going to run. Out of bounds across the 30. That'll stop the clock with 8 seconds left. There you see Brian Jenkins, who's got the initials of Eric LeGrand and the number on the shirt that he's wearing tonight, as we pointed out earlier.
Yeah, and you can tell that 1 year made such an impact on Coach Jenkins' coaching career. I mean, he said he learned so much from Schiano. Got plenty of season down in Louisiana Lafayette when he coached there, but you can tell right away. First thing he said is, "Oh, Schiano's my coaching mentor for life," and that's the ultimate compliment you can give somebody.
Johnson throws it, and it's picked off. Was he in bounds? Yes, he was. Devontae Graham, his 4th pick of the season.
What an athletic interception. Watch him climb up the ladder, go get this one. He's going climb up the ladder, catch it, and then get the foot down. Oh,
that's a catch.
Yeah, that's a beautiful interception there. Look at the hops.
Tyrone Odoms, the defensive coordinator for A&T, North Carolina A&T, he says that Graham has the best cover skills on the team. And here's a kid who made 9 starts as a true freshman a year ago. Now has 4 interceptions to lead the team. Only a sophomore.
Yeah, best future, best football should be ahead of him. They're very excited about him. And that's something to say about this whole Aggie team. And people don't realize how young they are.
They've been in a lot of close games. A record a little deceiving.
Yeah, they've got 3 seniors on offense and 3 seniors on defense. And that's it. Everybody else is coming back. So, although they're taking their lumps right now, the future appears to be bright for A&T in upcoming seasons.
That run by Mike Mayu takes us to halftime, and we take you to Charlotte. Lowell Galindo and Charles Arbuckle in studio for the State Farm Halftime Report.
Guys, thank you so much. And for everyone else, welcome into the State Farm Halftime Report. Lowell Galindo here with the former UCLA All-American Charles Arbuckle. Let you know about a pretty impressive comeback by North Carolina State coming up in just a little bit. But first, we start with tragedy in South Bend. The death of Notre Dame student Declan Sullivan has...
Game time.
Welcome back to Municipal Stadium in Daytona Beach, Florida. We're here for ESPNU College Football Primetime, presented by McDonald's. The Aggies of A&T taking on Bethune-Cookman as we get ready to start the second half. Bethune-Cookman with a 39-17 lead over the Aggies. Now let's go back upstairs to Anish and Jay.
All right, Charlie, well, thank you very much. Again, Bethune-Cookman up comfortably here, and Jay, we have seen everything in the first half. We've seen a terrific ground game from Bethune-Cookman. We've seen a pretty good ground attack by North Carolina A&T, and we've seen a power outage, a true blackout here.
Just a normal day of Thursday night football, Anish. That's what we do. But I think more importantly, what we've seen is the #1 team in the MEAC conference and the highest-ranked Blackhawks team in the country, showing why they're #1. First time on national TV, people want to know.
Oh,
no,
lights
we're
out.
not going to show you what we're made of just yet.
Isidore Jackson, after that touchdown run, we had a power outage, delay of more than an hour and 40 minutes, but really the ground game for Bethune-Cookman, the story of this first half.
Yeah, we know they're dual threat and they like to throw the ball first, but a good team can make the adjustments and take what the defense is giving them. And Matt Johnson has been a field general out there this evening, making the right decisions in the run game. And this is in one half, 339 yards total offense. You talk about stepping on the gas pedal. They are really getting it done. 244 yards rushing on the ground. 95 yards in the air. Like we talked about A&T, they've been able to run the football, but they haven't been able to put as many points on the board as this Wildcat offense.
Bethune-Cookman to receive to start the second half. This is Courtney Keith. And Keith goes down at the 40-yard line. Jay, you gave us your lesson plan to start the game. You got midterm grades for us?
They tested me. They tested me, Anish. You know me. You know I've been doing this long enough, so we take a look at the lesson plan. And you know I've got a philosophy, right? I tell you, you don't fail my class, right? I don't give out Fs.
I thought it was a pass-fail class.
I don't give out Fs. I was tempted to give out my first F.
All right, Jay's going to give out his grades after this play. Matt Johnson to throw. First play of the second half. And he completes to Jordan Murphy. Jamal Wardlaw made the tackle. Nice pickup on first down. All right, Jay, we got the drum roll going. We're going to wait one more play before you give out your grades?
Yeah, if they'll give us some time. You know, that hurry-up, fast-paced offense.
They're getting to class before the professor. That last pass and catch, good for a first down. Johnson here throws a little screen. Isidore Jackson across the 40-yard line. He's got another first down. Midterm grades, Professor.
All righty. I gave an A out. Run strong. A&T, they came out. They rushed for 100 yards. That's fine. D minus. D minus. I mean, they didn't stop Bethune-Cookman at all. I mean, missed tackles, special teams play. But look at that. I mean, that impressive for Bethune-Cookman, first time on TV. A+, B+. I mean, look at the numbers on the quarterback. 4 of 13, 54 yards, 1 INT. That's basically taking a quarterback and rendering him useless to the contest.
A player down on the field, Jay, after that last completion to Isidore Jackson. It's Jamal Wardlaw, number 50, linebacker for North Carolina A&T.
Should I have given out the F? Should that have been the first ever Professor J F? I mean, a team has the ball, and I mean, they don't.
You still have a soul,
they don't
right?
punt.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true. That is true. I mean, but it's tough for me.
You can be convinced, but they were walking the line. Is that what you were saying?
They were walking. We went it on curve. We had it on the curve that time, and so not everybody performed well, but that's something that they're going to have to earmark, and it's very disappointing for Coach Alonzo Lee because he's a defensive coordinator, you know, by trade. He's defensive guy, defensive side of the ball, and when you got teams just running up and down the field on you, one, it lets me know how good Bethune-Cookman really is offensively, and two, it also just tells you that they got better players. You know, at a certain point, you got to realize, hey, we're too young. This is a seasoned group for Bethune-Cookman, and schematically, they're just winning the battles.
You were just watching Jamal Wardlaw, Jay, go off the field as Alonzo Lee sees a member of his defense now leave. So down one at the linebacking position, at least for now. 1st and 10, Bethune-Cookman. Again, Johnson from the shotgun. Isidore Jackson in the backfield. Johnson will throw. Has time, going downfield, wide open, Eddie Poole, touchdown.
They're not done stepping on the gas pedal, are they? They're trying to get some looks out there. Good double move run by Eddie Poole. And potent offense. What do you say? I mean, good offenses, they strike quickly.
What do you do over at Daytona Speedway? You're up a little bit, you try to lap them, right?
Yeah, they don't try and save gas. They go ahead and just leave it all on the track, and that's what the Speedway offense is doing here tonight.
Point after by Corey Kowalski is good. They had 3 missed point afters in this game. That one good, so it's 46-17.
And, you know, look at the time and the protection. Starts off with the left. He's just trying to move the safety. Once he moves the safety, then he just goes ahead and releases it outside. And that's one where the defensive back thought he had safety help, but Matt Johnson did a great job from the quarterback position of keeping the safety neutral in the middle of the field.
46-17. We know this Bethune-Cookman offense can score. Last couple of weeks, though, their offense has been held in check. Now, granted, the level of competition increased. They went to South Carolina State, won 14-0. That was really the first time, besides the game against Norfolk State, where their offense was really held in check, but their defense played well. And in a lot of ways, that was a statement game for all the people who doubted if Bethune-Cookman was real, to go to South Carolina State in Orangeburg and win. That showed a lot of people that, hey, you know what? This is a team that might be the best of the HBCU schools.
Yeah, that did. I mean, you go in there, you beat, you know, the #1 team in black college football for 2 years
two-time defending MEAC champ.
2 years running. And I think, you know, if you look at it, though, the one that really made me say, hey, wait a minute, when they put 69 points up on Morgan State. I mean, Morgan State's a team that offensively they struggle, but they do play defense. They put 69 points on Morgan State, 47 points up on Delaware State, good defense. So that made me say, hey, this team is real, and, you know, and they're legitimate, and this is not just a fluke. And they seem to be showing me today how impressive they can be on offense.
Another short kick. This time it's fielded by Justin Farrell, averaging better than 30 yards a return. You see why he's so dangerous. All the way down to the 40-yard line. They've been trying to kick it away from him all game. That time, Farrell finally got one.
Yeah, he got underneath it. You know, did you see the one quick move he's going to make right here? You're going to see a quick cut where he's just going to side swipe and cut back to the inside. He's going outside. They think they've got him walled off, and right there, just cutting that little gap there off that plant foot. He's exciting.
And that's right in line with his average, a 32-yard kickoff return. Farrell's taken 3 kickbacks this season. Well, he hasn't taken 3 kickbacks. He's taken 3 kicks back. This is George Hines. He just tosses it up. Luckily, it was out of bounds. Ryan Davis applying the pressure. I would hope he's not taking kickbacks.
Nah.
Kicks back. Funny, you switch a letter, what happens?
Front 4 for Bethune-Cookman continuing to apply the pressure. And we talk about the offense. They've got some defensive studs over there too. Ryan Davis been very active all night, and Jamel Farrington's played a good game from the nose tackle position, number 90.
A run here on 2nd down. It's Mike Mayu. Man, he gets 4 yards. Dilemma here for the Aggies. You're down 46-17. They've had success running the football, but at some point, you're going to crawl back into this game. You're going to have to do it through the air.
I think for them, you know, you want to pass the football, but you just want to get some points. And if the defense is giving you the running game, you got to take it. You can't afford to just exchange scores with this team.
Hines rolling right, throws on the run. Hauled in by Wallace Miles. Gain of 3. It'll bring up 3rd down.
So Hines is playing quarterback almost by default because they lost a starting quarterback to begin the year. When I said earlier,
how about the way they lost their starting quarterback, though?
They've got 3 starters on offense, including Hines. So Hines is out, but their quarterback will be coming back. And that quarterback is?
Lewis Kindle. And he hurt himself a week before the season started in a scrimmage, threw an interception, tried to tackle a linebacker on his own team, tore his ACL. Hines fires incomplete, 4th down, and we're starting to see what Bethune-Cookman's doing here. Let's see if this kid can beat us. That's basically what they're saying.
Yep, throw the ball, make you throw, and you know, and for them going back to the Kimball, you know, injury on an interception, trying to make a tackle. One's a quarterback.
He was wearing the red jersey too.
Yeah, you don't tackle folks, and not in practice. Practice? They were talking about practice, man.
Hey, ESPNU's coverage of college football continues Saturday with 2 games. They're not practicing. Syracuse and Cincinnati. The Orange coming off that big win against West Virginia. That's a noon game. And then at 7 Eastern, an SEC showdown. Kentucky goes to Starkville, where they'll take on Dan Mullen's Mississippi State Bulldogs. And in at quarterback for Bethune-Cookman is Jackie Wilson. So it looks like Matt Johnson's day is done. And Wilson. And that's a gain of about 7-8 yards. Solid run there.
No, that's something where the backup quarterback always tries to go in there and show that I can one-up the starting quarterback. It's funny, you know, you get in there, you think, oh, well, if Matt Johnson run for 220 yards, well, I'm going to go out there and run for 250. I'll tell you a funny story about backup quarterbacks, too, after this play. Make you laugh. Kind of ironic here in Daytona.
Does it involve you?
It involves Howard University. Hint, hint. So You know, we talk about backup quarterbacks wanting to go in there and show up. So, you know, I had a dream game against a team in Howard. So the coach pulls me at halftime. So I don't play in first at half. I hear my backup, man, Jay put up those numbers. Watch, see what I'm going to do. Comes out first play. Play we never throw the deep post on. He goes over the top, interception. And the only reason I say that, he's here tonight. so Terrell Hill, my backup quarterback, I got you.
How long were you waiting to get that story?
I had to get it.
Jackie Wilson, the backup quarterback. Not as fast as Matt Johnson, but he can still get the yardage. A little about Jackie Wilson, 6 foot, 195-pound sophomore out of Fort Lauderdale, transferred from Utah State.
Yeah, you see there, I mean, he's got the legs, and, you know, he's got those fresh legs right there. You know, he's learning athletic type guy, and that's what they said, you know, with this position at quarterback at Bethune-Cookman, it's all about the athleticism at the quarterback position.
There we go. That's Anthony Jordan, the freshman. He was a guy the coaching staff wanted a red shirt. Saw his first game action last week against North Carolina Central at 3 carries, 7 yards. But the Bethune-Cookman, they've dealt with some injuries to their backfield. Andronicus Levet is hurt. Jonathan Moment is hurt. And they went mostly with Andros Bell and Isidore Jackson today, but Moment and Levet both see their share of carries during the course of a game, both though injured today.
44. There you go, man.
And that's Jonathan Moment. We mentioned he is banged up, but playing here and getting a few yards.
We didn't think we were going to see Moment.
Yeah, coaching staff told us that Moment would probably not play. We didn't see him for much of the first half.
Oh, you see that hit coming in there? Now, if I was NFL, they call that the helmet-to-helmet hit right there. Safety coming in there and leading with his helmet, Vernon White.
2nd and 3, gain of 7.
44.
Moment again, right up the middle. Got 2, 3rd and 5. Or make it 3rd and 1. And now Moment comes to the sideline. And they'll just try to plow the football forward. That's Jackie Wilson.
You saw that statistic there with the 300 yards rushing. I mean, they basically did that in 1 half, if you consider it. But folks are going to get up and see the box score, and they're going to say, hey, I thought Alvin Wyatt left Bethune-Cookman University. Because, you know, when they ran the wide bone, there would be games where they may throw the ball 5 times.
It was Georgia Tech Navy-esque.
And so, you know, now they're showing that they still have the ability to run that football when needed. And I think, you know, tonight called for them to run the football. I think North Carolina A&T came in here defensively. Their plan was to try and put pressure on the quarterback, force him to throw it. Well, quarterback's best friend could be the running game. And when you've got an athletic quarterback such as Matt Johnson able to call his own number, they just had no answer for Matt Johnson tonight running the football.
Isidore Jackson up the gut. Make it Jackie Wilson. And another rushing touchdown for Bethune-Cookman. So let's keep track. Matt Johnson, the starting quarterback, ran for a couple scores. We've seen Andros Bell run for a score. We've seen Isidore Jackson run for a score. Now we've seen the backup quarterback, Jackie Wilson, run for a score. So a rushing touchdown from 4 different players, Jay.
And they made the extra point. They're getting better.
He's getting some reps. Corey Kowalski, the punter, who's doing the kicking duties today. But Bethune-Cookman starting to run away with it. 53-17. 9:24 to go in the 3rd.
The game you know.
Telecast is presented in high definition on ESPNU HD by Comcast.
ESPNU College Football Primetime is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. There's nothing like a pepper. Well, let's check out the latest HBCU news and notes. And we look at the Sports Network poll this past week. For the first time this season, 3 schools from the Black college football ranks are ranked in the top 25. In fact, Bethune-Cookman is ranked number 12 this week. And also you have South Carolina State 17 and Grambling coming in at number 23. And the leading tackler in the SIAC is senior linebacker Derek Adai of Kentucky State. You may look familiar, well, because he's the younger brother of Indianapolis Colts running back Joseph Adai, and he hopes he can join his brother in the NFL next season. And according to reports, Bethune-Cookman will represent the MEAC in next year's MEAC SWAC Challenge against a yet-to-be-named opponent. It'll mark the first time a Florida school has participated in the game since it moved to Orlando back in 2008. So that'll be very interesting. It's nice to see Bethune-Cookman going to play down in Orlando, Jay. You think about that?
That's big news, Charlie. I mean, that is big news. The fact that, having that game there, I think it's good that the Florida schools get an opportunity to participate in that, because we've talked many times before. That game is like a bowl game. That's first class all the way. They visit the theme parks, and attendance-wise will help. That's a great move by the conference.
Justin Farrell fielding this kick, makes a couple of Wildcats miss, and he gets across the 20-yard line. You and Charlie called the MEAC SWAC Challenge this year, right?
Yeah, we did. Opening game of the year. And Charlie, just imagine this, right? Imagine you got Bethune-Cookman. You know they're going to bring this band.
Yeah.
Imagine, it doesn't matter what team you bring from the SWAC. You know they're going to bring a band. But can you imagine like having Jackson State bringing the Sonic Boom, or Southern? Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah. That would be great. You're talking about a battle of the 2 teams from the MEAC SWAC. How about the battle of the bands from the MEAC SWAC?
Okay. And while we got you there, happy birthday, partner.
Happy birthday, Charlie.
Well, thank you very much.
How old are you?
You don't want to know.
Charlie doesn't age.
You know what I think they're going to do? I think Bethune is going to do a tribute, and they're going to score as many points as Charlie Neal has in his age. So, Charlie, whatever.
Wait a minute now. They got 53 up there now. They better stop scoring.
And I talked to Coach Jenkins, and he says they got a long way to go. So, Charlie, whatever their point total is, that's your age. We're going to change your driver's license and certificate to make that be the official number. Okay?
You know, like the Oregon Duck mascot's got to do the push-ups. Maybe we'll have him do the push-ups.
Yeah, well, I won't make it. Thanks a lot, guys.
North Carolina A&T sticking with the run here on 2nd down and 5, and they'll be close to a first down. With this Aggie team, Jay, the record is 1-7. You say on paper, well, the score 7-0 team, 1-7 team. Yeah, score is sort of predictable, but Alonzo Lee's team, they fought hard this season. Really, besides this game and the Tennessee State game, they've been in pretty much every game.
They fought, and I think that's what's been so disappointing to the folks in Greensboro, the fact that, you got to find a way to win one of those games. And, one thing you say about North Carolina A&T, they are probably one of the proudest football programs in the MEAC Conference. You go there, it's called Aggie Pride.
Yeah.
As soon as you get in town, Aggie Pride. And for them to have to go through this, I think everybody was watching this game tonight to say, hey, can North Carolina A&T be that bad in football with a one-win season in front of them? And I think if you see here in flashes, they've shown it. They've shown that they can be very, very effective and competitive. The record better than the one win that they've got for the season.
Mike Mayu fumbled. And he recovered his own fumble. It'll bring up 3rd down.
And now I think the surprise is, I thought they were going to come in here and play well tonight. I mean, I really did. Did they play well? No. Or did they just play against a team that is that much better than them?
Well, that's the other side of it. How good is Bethune-Cookman? How far can they go?
And that's going to be the question. Everybody wants to know. I'm thoroughly impressed by it.
Hines going deep, and it's incomplete. Wanted Dante Prince downfield.
Now, I will tell you this. Now, next week, we've got Bethune-Cookman going on the road, going up to Hampton, taking on the Pirates for Hampton's homecoming. And if they don't shore up their special teams, one thing Hampton does do is play special teams.
Yeah.
Their head coach, Donovan Rose, was a former special teams coach. So he's going to have some solid special teams play. And that should be one of the ultimate measuring stick games for this Bethune-Cookman program.
Well, you know what? It would have been very easy for Bethune-Cookman to come into this game and overlook North Carolina A&T, especially with that Hampton game looming. They've got Florida A&M in that season finale of the Florida Classic, but got to give Brian Jenkins and his coaching staff credit. This team has been focused basically from the start when he inherited this team. Little thing called chaos. We will tell you about that later on tonight. Brian Jenkins, head coach of Bethune-Cookman, 7-0 this season, on his way to 8-0.
ESPNU is home for the passionate college football fan as our experts break down the top 25 in a weekly 3-hour special.
Welcome back to Daytona Beach and ESPNU College Football Primetime, presented by McDonald's. Our score: Bethune-Cookman 53, North Carolina A&T 17. And it's time to bring the flavor of tonight's game, brought to you by McDonald's. That was tonight's McDonald's Who Brought the Flavor, and it was the Bethune-Cookman Marching Band. First down, BCU. Solid run by Andros Bell, and I know, Jay Walker, you're a big fan of the Wildcats band.
Yes, two numbers, 24 and 28. You have any idea what those mean?
Educate me.
24K. That's the dancing girls from Bethune-Cookman call 24K. And 28 is, what do you think 28 is?
Go ahead, tell me.
That is the number of sousaphones I counted.
Wow.
Sousaphones, not tubas. You know the difference between a tuba and a sousaphone.
They're
right?
both heavy, though.
28 sousaphones.
This is Jackie Wilson, the backup quarterback, and boy, he's fighting his way for tough yards. Finally brought down by Darion Mays. And there is a flag on the play.
See the
personal foul, face mask, number 44 of the defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And that penalty on Mays, who ended up bringing Wilson down.
So now you
wasn't a legal takedown.
You've got a little experience at this, so what's been your favorite band so far? And I'll give you a hint. Do not answer that question, because you will hear about it later. So
Fair enough.
I was going to set you up. But
fair enough.
You would have gotten so many emails from everybody all over the country.
I like them all, Jay. I like them all. And I thought you were the politician in the booth.
I saved you. I saved you. You know, as we take a look at Bethune-Cookman, one thing about
Aggies here real quick.
You know, as you know, I was doing the research and studying, you know, hey, how they jump out to such a successful start. Once I saw the list of the coaching staff, I said, oh, I get it. It makes sense now. Coach Jenkins has one of the best coaching staffs I have seen. You know, if you go around, there's a great story behind each and every one of them. And, you know, and I think that, you know, they're in good hands. Whether it starts with Mark Orlando, the offensive coordinator. Your quarterback coach is Danny Barrett, played for years in the CFL, coached in the CFL. You got Linwood Ferguson, used to be an offensive coordinator, playing your offensive line, special teams coordinator. So everywhere you go, Alan Suber. They brought back Alan Suber. You don't know this, but Alan Suber's a legend down there.
Cookman, yeah.
Legend. He's on the staff. So you talk about having a first-class coaching staff, and Coach Jenkins gives none. He said, hey, all I've got to do is just be the head coach. I'll let my assistant coaches do their job, and we're in good hands.
1st and 10, Wildcats after the timeout.
Quarterback has a 5.
Wilson's going to keep it again. Oh, those are some nice moves. He's into the end zone, and that's his second rushing touchdown of the game, and up 53-17. There's still no stopping the Speedway offense.
Charlie's getting a little bit older. They start moving that number up.
About 513 yards of total offense by Bethune-Cookman. There's still 6:40 to play in the third quarter. If you're just joining us now and wondering why a game that was supposed to start at 7:30 still in the third quarter, well, we had about an hour and 40-minute power outage. A complete blackout, and right now, it's Bethune-Cookman just pummeling North Carolina A&T 60-17. ESPNU.
Did you build your yard yet?
College Town. No, I haven't. I have to get to it. It's on the to-do list.
And see, now for you, I figured, you put a little dome on there. So you got to put a dome on your yard. See, I'm a Howard guy, so I got to put the yard.
Yeah.
The yard, in the tailgate section.
I'll tell you, Brian Jenkins has built this program up in one season, and we touched on this throughout the broadcast. He's replacing a guy in Alvin Wyatt who was here for 13 years. That Wyatt Bone offense was a staple of this program. And Coach Jenkins told us yesterday that when he first came here, there were a lot of people who were saying, well, who's the new guy? Who is this guy? He had a lot of doubters, and you replace a guy in Alvin Wyatt who, let's face it, was wildly successful here, had a style, had a flair, had an offense named after him, really, and
played here.
He had some, played here, played well here.
Yep.
Very well connected in the community. Not an easy guy to replace, but you know what? When you're 7-0 and on your way to 8-0, you'll make a lot of people forget the past pretty quickly.
Yeah, you do, and I think the atmosphere is what surprised me. Going on campus, we're going to practice, and there are lines outside in the student section to get tickets to the game, and I don't know how many cars I counted that had 6-0 away to go Wildcats, 7-0 go Wildcats, and you come in the billboard, go Cats, go. So, Daytona is getting behind the program and doing Mary McLeod Bethune proud.
12-yard run by Mayu on first down. He gets it again, and he's close to another first down. You played in the MEAC. You followed the conference for a long time. Give us an idea of how big a figure Alvin Wyatt was.
I think, personality-wise, we're not going to talk about the style and the clothes. We know he could dress. But personality-wise, what he did, and when you have that string of success, he had that class with Stephen Baggs and Alan Super, those guys, and Machine Mathis, those folks, and they went on and did well in the pros. That made the conference proud. When you can brag that your coach, Rasheem Mathis, plays for Jacksonville Jaguars, Pro Bowl corner. You got Nick Collins, starting safety for the Green Bay Packers. Yep. Those guys kind of help you get the pride within the conference pride. And I think, that's something that, the legacy will go on. When we talked about earlier, I think Charlie mentioned earlier, they were known as DBU, Defensive Back University, with all those draft picks. Now, I'll tell you, one of the stories we need to talk about is the fact that for the MEAC, the FCS playoffs have been expanded. This is the first year they're going from 16 teams to they're going to have 20 teams in the playoffs. If Bethune-Cookman were to win out, they get the automatic bid that comes with being the champion of the MEAC conference. Can South Carolina State get that spot possibly, the at-large bid to be one of those 20 teams? I think they've got a strong case.
Hines stumbles, ball comes out, and Bethune-Cookman is all over it. Another turnover for North Carolina A&T. That's their third turnover of the game.
Then you've got to ask yourself, what if Bethune-Cookman were to stumble? And if they were to stumble, and you'll see the fumble here, but if Bethune-Cookman were to stumble to, let's say, a Hampton, if they lose to a Hampton or Florida A&M, if they lose one game, well, if they've got one loss and they go 10-1, and if they don't win the conference championship, do you not allow them in postseason play? A team that's leading the country in scoring points.
Beat South Carolina State.
Yeah, so they all have interesting arguments, and Hampton's sitting right there, 5-2 overall there. Their loss was South Carolina State. Then they lost their first game of the year to a FBS school. I believe it was Central Michigan. So, I think this could be the year that the MEAC conference gets two teams in the postseason play. And
Jonathan Moment, big run there on first down.
And the two teams, you couldn't find two different teams that'll go represent your conference. You got Bethune-Cookman wants to score like crazy, fast break. And then you got South Carolina State that hangs their hat on that defense. That lets you know how good that South Carolina State defense is. The fact that they held Bethune to 14 points.
Couldn't score, though.
Man.
But they couldn't score.
They could score, though.
Moment again on second down, and he's taken down by Justin Farrell, who will bring up a third down. Bethune-Cookman last year under Alvin Wyatt. That was before Brian Jenkins took over. They were 5-6. Wyatt was let go. Jenkins came in, changed the offense, and you're seeing the results. 60-17 the score. Third time this season Bethune has gone to at least 60 points in a game. And Wilson is going to be wrapped up behind the line and then shoved out of bounds by Chris Neal.
Well, we talk about them going over 60 points. Well, how about this?
Yeah, something tells me I'm not good at math.
If they score 3 more points, they will no longer be the number 2 team in total offense in FCS football. They will be the number 1 team, bypassing Jacksonville right down the road. So right now, how's that something? You lead, you're in second place in the country, but you're second place in your own state in terms of points scored per game.
Florida football for you, I guess.
We say second place on 95, or would that be 4? High 95, second place. That's a tough one.
And that punt will just go out of bounds. So North Carolina A&T will have the football. Down 60-17, 3:41 to play. Charlie Neal down on the sideline. Jay Walker and Ish Schroff up here in the booth. Don't forget, Saturday morning, ESPNU previews a busy day in college football at 9 a.m. Eastern. Aaron Andrews joins the game day crew and hosts College Game Day built by the Home Depot. At 10 a.m. it's the college football version of Sports Nation. At 11 a.m. college football whip around. The latest news from all the big game sites from around the nation. Don't miss a single moment. Big ESPNU Saturday as we're getting down toward the end of the season, the home stretch. Boise State won earlier this week, but 6 unbeatens all on the road this weekend. There's some interesting matchups there. You got Auburn at Ole Miss. Ole Miss has played well after losing their first 2 games to Jacksonville State and Vandy. Nice run there by George Hines, the quarterback, former baseball player. Finally brought down by Michael Williams.
That's been the one thing we haven't seen him do tonight. You know, is take off and run. He's got great athletic ability, good footwork, moves like a middle infielder, even though he played outfield, but take off and run sometimes. So now with you talked about the Auburn game, Ole Miss, so you kind of think we talked a little bit, you think they could be in for a tough contest down there? Could be.
I mean, Ole Miss played Alabama tough a few weeks ago. They didn't win, but Jeremiah Masoli starting to play a little bit better, and you never know. Houston Nutt, early in the season, his name was one of those that popped up on all those reports you saw about the hot seat. What about Michigan State going to Iowa this week? An Iowa team that's going to be fired up after losing a nail-biter to Wisconsin last week.
That was a close one there, you know, and I lost that one in my pick'em segment against Charles Arbuckle there. I was feeling good all the way. I had it, and the last minute came, but you know, you talk about the season and the big games to watch. You know, I went on a limb a couple weeks ago. I thought that Cam Newton was my choice for the Heisman Trophy. So, you know, you can't win the Heisman Trophy if you're losing to Mississippi, to Ole Miss. So I think they're going to go down there and take care of their business.
No flag on the play.
So if you're going to win the Heisman Trophy, you got to win certain games. The ones you're supposed to win, you got to win. You know, Ole Miss, I think he'll put some good numbers up. He'll get the win. Chattanooga, obviously, he'll get those numbers up. Georgia, you don't know what Georgia team's going to show up.
You know what, though? Georgia, they lost their first SEC game, first 3 SEC games, started 1-3.
Back to 4-4.
They're at
right
500.
there.
They're right there. They're playing well.
But then I think, you know, if they beat Alabama, then obviously not only do they get a Heisman Trophy, I think they get a berth in the national championship game, regardless what happens, SEC championship.
On the flip side of that, and this is something that comes up every year, it's about when you lose. And Alabama, remember they lost to South Carolina a few weeks back, but if a couple dominoes fall their way, Alabama, even as a one-loss team, if they beat Auburn in that season finale, they may have a chance. Now, they need a few breaks. They need a few of the undefeateds to fall. But Alabama, 7th in the BCS standings right now, still has a chance to sneak into that BCS championship game picture. Because think about it. If they win out, which you have to do, that means you're beating Auburn in your season finale. Then you still have the SEC championship game. And even though the SEC East is down this year, if they play South Carolina and beat South Carolina, you never know. Voters will say, well, they avenged their only loss.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, on what you said. I just, the more and more BCS that you see, the more you just have to feel for Boise State and TCU. The reason why I always go back to Boise State, everybody's favorite team this year in the country is Oregon, right? The Blur. They're about, oh, wow. Some people think they're the best team by far in college football at number 2. Oregon got beat by Boise State. When they played
last year, though. That was last year.
That's true, but here's this. Boise State, that same team that beat Oregon, 20 of 22 starters came back in East. They're that much better, too.
The issue, I think, that pollsters and voters, pundits have with Boise State, I don't think that nationally anybody doubts their talent. I mean, they beat Oregon State, they beat Virginia Tech. They have defeated all their other opponents with style points like they need to. I think the question you run into with Boise State, and you look at the remaining schedule, Hawaii did beat Nevada. They still have the game at Nevada. Rest of the schedule lines up pretty well for them. Here's the issue I think people have with Boise State. Look where Alabama lost its one game. Part of a 3-game stretch where they go to Arkansas, home against Florida, at South Carolina. And I think there's a lot of folks out there who say, if you put Boise State through that same gauntlet, do they come out without a loss?
You can say that, but they can't control their conference here. In certain years, certain conferences are better than others. I mean,
but isn't that the difference between playing in the SEC or the Big 12 or the Big 10 as opposed to the WAC? And it's nothing against the WAC. You can have a good team there, but you're not challenged how those other teams are challenged week in and week out.
I agree, but, you can't be mad at Shaquille O'Neal because he's 7 feet tall. I mean, geographic, you can't control if you're in California and you got to play a Pac-10 schedule, or you're out west and you got to play the WAC schedule. I mean, geographically where they're located, the fact of the matter is who can beat them on the field. And this team has not been beaten on the field in a while. And the last point I'll make on it is, look at what Virginia Tech is doing. Virginia Tech is climbing up the ladder. They beat Virginia Tech. That'll help them out. So we'll talk more BCS and all this when we come back in the fourth quarter. It's the Wildcats 60, A&T 17.
ESPNU Tailgate, Saturday beginning at 9 a.m. on ESPNU.
Los Angeles, California. The first man to sell 10.
Time now for tonight's game summary brought to you by State Farm. Yeah, the lights went out. A transformer struck by lightning just down the street. Stadium lights went out. We had total darkness, a blackout for about an hour and 40 minutes when play resumed. Bethune-Cookman in complete control. That's Jackie Wilson, the backup quarterback. He's run for a couple of scores. Matt Johnson, the starter's got a couple of rushing touchdowns. Really, Bethune-Cookman's ground game, that Speedway offense has really lapped North Carolina A&T. 369 rush yards, 8 rushing touchdowns. And that is tonight's game summary brought to you by State Farm. And this Bethune-Cookman football team has a chance to tack onto a 60-17 lead here in the fourth quarter. A transformer went out, Jay. We were lining up for a 2-point conversion. This was early in the first quarter. Lining up for a 2-point conversion. All of a sudden, the entire stadium went dark. Lights went out. We had no idea what happened. Jay wondered out loud if they had converted the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, it was something, but we got the warning last week. The Bats knocked out one panel of lights. This week,
that was in Alcorn State.
Yeah, this week they shut everybody down. The lights went out.
Bethune-Cookman band, even with a 60-17 lead, they're dancing, they're swaying right in front of us. That's the sound you hear in the background.
There you go. There you go.
Fumble.
David
Fumble.
Blackwell coughed it up. Looks like the Aggies have it. Yeah, if you're just joining us, it is 60-17. This game was over early in the third quarter here. A rare turnover by Bethune-Cookman. They got 2 turnovers tonight. They only had 5 on the season coming into the game.
Yeah, and they actually threw an interception right before the half, and then they got some fumbles as well. So, team that leads the country, or one of the leading teams in the country in turnover margin. That's one thing that you have to be able to coach your players up on. You know, every week the coaches need something to kind of yell at the team about. And I think they can sit there and say, we didn't protect the football.
Jay, let's go back to that 2-point conversion that we were talking about. This was earlier in the night. Bethune-Cookman lining up for a 2-point conversion. Whoa, what happened? Lights out, complete darkness. We actually saw the fans holding up their phones, the LED display, the only lights in the entire building. We lost power here in the press box. In fact, it was a bolt of lightning. Yeah, that struck a transformer down the street. But I'll tell you what, you want to talk about a transformer? I think Bethune-Cookman has come out like Megatron. He was a transformer, right? Megatron?
Yes,
he was the big baddie.
Megatron was a good guy, right? Or which one was Optimus Prime?
Optimus Prime, I believe, was a good guy.
Good guy, okay. So after celebrating your touchdown, you're like, whoa. And that's what I like.
Yeah.
Right there.
Like
that was kind of
right?
cool. Yeah, I thought there was a concert going on.
And then you can see that's where we were up in the press box. The lights went out. And then the stadium lights, they flickered on, they flickered out. It was a surreal scene for about 5-10 minutes. Then we kind of figured out what was going on. We weren't sure if we were on the air at one point. We were told we were. We didn't say anything we weren't supposed to say.
Yeah.
Fans down below, and we said this before, got to give the fans credit. Got to give the Daytona Beach police who came in and ran security. Got to give the crew working the game here tonight. Got to give everybody credit because it was a bizarre situation, but they resolved it. And how about these students in the band coming back to the game?
And the fans.
Because they evacuated everybody.
Yeah, and the fans that stuck around in the parking lot. So that lets you know how much they believe in this Wildcat football team, and they're looking forward to support them throughout the year.
That's a solid return by Courtney Keith. And Bethune-Cookman will start in Aggie territory. 13:26 to go here in the fourth quarter. A 44-yard punt return for Courtney Keith. We'll be back after this.
When you join together talented student athletes with great coaches at wonderful institutions of higher learning, you have all the resources you need to achieve success.
ESPNU College Football Primetime is presented by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And in part by Lexus. This is the pursuit of tomorrow. This is the pursuit of perfection. Let's take a look at the road ahead presented by Lexus. And, of course, with the season winding down, a lot of teams are vying for position as far as their conferences are concerned. And we'll take a start with the CIAA, where Shaw takes on Winston-Salem State Saturday. It's a key Southern Division matchup. Shaw unbeaten and tied for the lead with St. Aug's. Winston-Salem just one loss in the SWAC. Grambling will try and keep its unbeaten record intact. They travel to Arkansas Pine Bluff. Prairie View trying to stay in the hunt, but they'll have their hands full on the road at Jackson State. And over 68,000 fans will be in Birmingham Saturday for the 69th edition of the Magic City Classic. Alabama State and Alabama A&M, always a good one. Gentlemen.
All right, thanks, Charlie. That's Troy Danahauer, new quarterback for Bethune-Cookman.
Now that Magic City Classic game could be the world's largest tailgate.
You know, here's what I'm curious about. Maybe Charlie knows. Well, I'm sure Charlie knows. Charlie, when we had the blackout, you're down on the field. What did you do?
I went to the truck where there was light. I'm not crazy.
Did you know what was happening initially?
Can't hear it.
I don't think Charlie can hear us. handoff there, and that's number 6, David Blackwell. We're at Municipal Stadium here in Daytona Beach, Florida. North Carolina A&T taking on the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, along with former Howard University quarterback and MEAC Offensive Player of the Year, Jay Walker, and our host on the sidelines, Charlie Neal, who we're just talking to. I'm Anish Shroff. ESPNU College Football Primetime presented by McDonald's. It's Blackwell again, solid run. Bethune-Cookman pretty much emptying out the bench. Let's go back to the preseason. This is before spring practice. Brian Jenkins, new coach, we talked earlier. He's replacing a legend in Alvin Wyatt. Needs to put his stamp on this team. So what does he do? Takes the players down to Daytona Beach, the beach itself. And it was almost a mini boot camp. Chaos is what they called it. Here's a glimpse of what the players had to go through. I don't know if you can see the background there. Looking at the time of day, 5, 6 in the morning.
I thought it was sunset. It was sunrise.
It was sunrise. That wasn't dusk. That was dawn. Look at that. You can see the sunrise in the background, and then the bear crawl in the sand.
You know, and I think what you do that is, you know, you run off some people. You know, those people that aren't truly committed.
And he ran off a few people.
Literally.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
About 15, 20 players left the team.
Yeah, that's unique to do it on the beach, you know, to be located as close to the beach as they are. But
a little bit of a end of Rocky 3 feel to it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Without the awkward, you know, man hug with Apollo. But and there's another touchdown for Bethune-Cookman. Patrick Harris hauling that one in. Second touchdown grab of the season.
Yeah, so Troy Danhauer coming in, third string quarterback, getting in and getting some throws. So I'm sure it was a pleasant surprise for him. He's a transfer from Florida International, getting in and getting on TV and throwing a touchdown. He was the backup going into the year, then got injured, lost his backup position. You know that's tough when you lose your backup spot.
Not easy, not easy. Something I'm sure you never had to go through.
It's competitive now.
67-17. Yeah, a 50-point advantage here in the fourth.
Welcome to McDonald's.
Toll free 877-235-6139.
67-17, Bethune-Cookman on top of North Carolina A&T, and we take the time to remind you that ESPNU's coverage of college football continues Saturday. A couple of games open in Starkville. And meanwhile, Bethune-Cookman on its way.
Look at the sign.
8-0 start. Grade 8 indeed.
I like that. Great 0. Grade 8-0. I'm telling you, the atmosphere is impressive. The campus looks fantastic. I mean, we hadn't been down here in 4 or 5 years, and Charlie and I were talking about all the new construction, and there's got more to come. And they've done a fantastic job down here at Daytona and creating the atmosphere and the environment. Now, if they can only just keep the lights on.
This is Torian Warren on the kick return, and he gets to about the 27-yard line. We showed you some chaos. That's what they call these drills. Look at that, the linemen. I mean, you're giving the linemen a piggyback ride. That has got to hurt.
And they base it off of Marine-style training.
Yeah.
You know, some of these drills that the Marines use, so that's a good way to get some people off on your team that shouldn't be there.
And you know what Brian Jenkins wanted to do? He told his team, you have to earn the right to practice. He said, if you can get through chaos, then you can practice. And he locked the doors, took away the key to the gym. He had to get through chaos before he could practice.
And
Charlie?
And just to add to that a little bit, Anish, one of the things he said, he was trying to see who was going to buy into his program. As you mentioned earlier, 15 to 20 players left the team, but those who bought in are here. And a lot of these players were here last year. And a lot of these players that bought in are the ones who are starring for this Bethune-Cookman team right now.
I agree with that. You know, it's about the players and how many players you have eligible. And I think on the flip side of that is, you know, you look on the other sideline and you take a look at North Carolina A&T and, you know, their struggles and what people don't realize, the effects of the APR. you know, the graduation requirement where the NCAA is taking scholarships away. So, you know, A&T's not playing. They've got, what's their number in each? Is it 44 scholarship players that they've got right now?
He gets about 44 and a half. I don't know how a half scholarship works. You probably know.
Somebody's meal money came up missing. But, you know,
but this is phase 2 of the APR sanctions.
And everybody else in the conference has 63 scholarships. Yep. So, I mean, that's a lot. And so, you know, what they're looking at is next year, they'll get about half of those back. So they'll get up to 57, 58 scholarships next year.
As George Hines is intercepted, that's Daniel Rhodes.
And where that really affects you is in their record. You see their record, they've only won one game. Well, when you lose, you know, 18 scholarship positions, players, then that's where your depth is. So if you're in a close football game, then all of a sudden the fourth quarter comes around, whoever's got the freshest legs and whoever's got more bodies normally wins that football contest. So it's a compound reason for why North Carolina A&T is not having the success that they would come to expect in Aggie land. And, you know, you can't just put it all on the coach. I think you got to look at the overall program. He didn't have those kids fail out. He inherited that program, that problem, and he's had to deal with it.
Yeah, Alonzo Lee trying to do his best, and the other part of their problem this season has been finding a quarterback.
Yes.
They basically have gone through the entire season looking for a quarterback, and I know George Hines hasn't played well today, and we talked about how he came over from the baseball team, told the coach, hey, I can play quarterback, used to be the man in high school. But when Lewis Kindle went down, and maybe that goes back to the scholarships not having the depth, they went through Shelton Morgan, they went through Terrence Webb. Ricky Lewis can play a little quarterback, but he's more of a wildcat guy. They refer to George Hines, who you see there, as a godsend. How many times when we talk to the coaches did they say he was a godsend? Yeah. How many times did they use that word?
No, more than I can remember. You know, that's how many times they used it, and you can tell they meant it.
Yeah.
Just having the ability to have wide receivers run routes, get open, and get somebody to get the football to them.
Nice run by Danahauer. And you got to give Hines credit today. Well, on the season as a whole, I know he struggled today, but he's playing one of the best defenses in the conference, and this is his third start. Did well last week against Howard, 12 of 16, 235 yards, 3 touchdowns. When he threw 3 TDs against your alma mater last week, first time since 1995 that an Aggie quarterback threw 3 touchdown passes in a game.
Wow. Yeah, that's a long while. That's over 15 years. You said 95?
1995.
Not 2005, 1995.
1995. Well, if the score doesn't tell the story, just look at the total yards between the two teams. I'm pretty sure Bethune-Cookman was, what, right around 220, 230 at the end of the first quarter?
Yeah, yeah, and they've kept on pace, and the numbers don't lie. Charlie?
Hey, you're right. Numbers don't lie. You know, you're talking about this team being 8-1, or 8-0 right now, rather. You know, back in 2002, that was the last time that they had won this many games in a row. They started the season 9-0, and their only loss that season was to Hampton University. They went on to finish the season 11-1. So, you know, I know that's sticking in the back of a lot of alum and people who've been around the Bethune-Cookman program for a while.
And they play Hampton
next week.
Next week.
Yeah. You know, what's even more impressive about Bethune is they haven't trailed this season.
Yeah, well, you see how much they outscored their opponents in the first quarter. Was it 82-18?
Yeah.
And this is who they've got left. I mean, they got the must-win over South Carolina State out the way, but Hampton's lurking. And one thing about Florida A&M, I can tell you, throw records out the window, because even rivalry game, and those Rattlers, you know, they'll be prepared to run up and down the field with Bethune-Cookman.
If Bethune-Cookman scores a touchdown here, they'd get to 73 points. They scored 70 points in their season opener. That's the most points they've scored this season. Danahauer.
And if they score, they'll round out their average per game to 45 points per game. They will average. Get a nice little round number, get it in there so we don't have to say.
First in the FCS.
Yes.
Speedway offense slowing down a touch. When you're up by about 10 laps, you can do that. Big stiff arm there by Dana Howard. He's
tough
a
kid.
tough runner, huh?
Yeah, he's a tough kid. He may be one of those guys you need to line him up, let him play that H-back position for you, the tight end. You see the high snap right here, throws off all the timing. You just run and outrun one guy. Good stiff arm there and show the end. Look at how great stiff arm and then lower the shoulder. That's how you do it there. You know, it's funny. I was talking in the pregame to the quarterback coach, Danny Barrett. I said, well, you got these guys underneath the center getting the snaps and stuff for goal line. I said, how often will you all get in the quarterback underneath the center, you know, from a regular traditional formation? You know what he told me? Pregame. They only do it in pregame. And he was true to his word. I mean, you get down here in the goal line and, hey, they're still, normally you get a team on the 3-yard line. You put your quarterback underneath the center, but no.
Brian Jenkins is going to send the field goal unit out here on 4th down. And you mentioned this is the one area, and I know it's a 67-17 game, so this field goal here really inconsequential to the outcome of the game. But you said this is the one area that if their season goes to where we think it's going, that's into the playoffs where they're going to face really good teams.
Yep.
Taking nothing away from the MEAC competition. But when you get into the FCS playoffs, and we see it again there, is Kowalski. And Kowalski is the backup kicker. He's normally the punter. Sven Hurd is the starting kicker. But once they get into the FCS competition, you know,
every point
playoffs,
counts.
yeah, special teams could be a factor. Hasn't really been a factor in this game. They've missed a field goal and 3 extra points, and they're up 50.
We enhanced the driver's sensation of speed in the Lexus supercar by partnering with the craftsmen at Yamaha Music to acoustically tune our engine. This is shaping the future while stirring the senses. This is the pursuit of the impossible. This is the pursuit of
67-17. Bethune-Cookman Speedway offense putting on a tour de force this evening. HD this Saturday.
So the Orange, your alma mater, bringing football back to respectability, huh?
They're 5-2. There have been some lean years for that program, but Doug Marrone, second season there, has had a couple of big wins this year. Going to South Florida, winning that game on the road, and West Virginia on the road. It's a down year for the Big East in general, but sometimes that's what a program needs to get back on track.
Yep, I agree with you there. But I'm still, we talked about earlier, I mean, I'm just really impressed with the job Virginia Tech did. I mean, they could have easily gone in the tank. You know, lose those first 2 games to Boise, then you lose James Madison. I mean, right now they're playing some of the best football on the East Coast.
You know what nobody talks about with that James Madison loss? Remember when they played that first game against Boise? Do you remember the day it was?
It was
Labor Day. Monday night. So it's a Monday night game.
Yep.
So that essentially wipes out Tuesday because you played Monday night. So you had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, essentially 3 days. And not that Virginia Tech shouldn't beat James Madison, but James Madison is a pretty good FCS team.
Yeah. They're in the CAA conference, which people say is the SEC of SCS,
right,
of FCS football.
You have 3 days to prepare, and I've heard this from a lot of FCS coaches. When they play an FBS team, that's Division I AA going up against Division I, they'll always talk about, and they'll say, you know, 11 on 11, we can hang with them. We might not be able to beat them, but we can hang with them. What hurts us is late third quarter, fourth quarter. We just don't have the depth to compete against those players. Now, you've got a team that's playing essentially on 3 days rest.
Clip it. Number 7 and 4 of offense. 15-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
You're playing essentially with 3 days practice, not a lot of rest. That fatigue factor might even out a little bit. The FCS team not having depth. Your guys maybe not firing at 100% energy in those games. I'm not trying to make an excuse. Virginia Tech should have won that game.
It sure does sound like you're giving them a bunch of them. but at the same time,
you don't reel off 5 straight wins the way they have after that if you're not a good team. That's my point.
Yeah, but I mean, they traveled down the road. It was a bus trip for them to get to FedEx Field. So it was close. Had they had to go all the way across the country, then fly back, you definitely lose that day. But they were home that night sleeping in their own beds.
Just trying to figure out how they lost to James Madison. Trying to come up with something.
Yeah, but James Madison's a good one. I mean, and look at this. I mean, when Ole Miss lost.
They're an upper echelon FCS team, too.
Yes. And when Ole Miss lost to Jacksonville State, you said, okay, well, they're going to go through the SEC and get pounded. Well, Ole Miss has won some games in SEC competition. So I really do think with the scholarship restrictions and the spread offense becoming as contagious as it is across the country, that the gap between FBS and FCS is not as great as it used to be. I think if you take a look at it, I think the shot heard around the world was when Appalachian State went to Michigan. Because back in the day, before the spread offense, Big Ten teams would just pound and pound the smaller schools. Well, spread offense, you spread them out, and you can't hit what you can't catch.
Lost in this defeat, by the way, for North Carolina A&T. Mike Mayu just ripped off a 40-yard run moments ago. He's up over 200 yards rushing, a new career high for him. He's one of the bright spots on this team this year.
And he's a junior, so he'll be coming back. So, they got some pieces in play where, this can be a respectable football team, fairly quickly.
If Lewis Kindle comes back, their quarterback next year healthy. But go back to your point about App State and the FCS teams going up against those Division I schools.
Yeah, I mean, when you can't just muscle them around. The scholarship numbers have gotten closer. So, once upon a time, a big-time football program could have 150 kids on the team practicing all the time. Well, now they've reduced those numbers. So you've got kids that don't just go and ride the bench at one of the big schools. Go ahead and play at a lower level of football. You're still a Division I or FBS caliber kid. You're just playing football and you need that opportunity to play. I mean, Joe Flacco, perfect example. Joe Flacco was University of Pittsburgh. Wasn't going to start, transferred to the University of Delaware, took Delaware to the national championship game, and then goes into the NFL. I mean, but while he was at Delaware, was he not an FBS quality player? He just had to find a program which fit for him. And I think that's why you're starting to see more and more competition. I mean, we look at this game, Bethune-Cookman, they've got 3 transfers from Rutgers on this team who are participating. They're good football players, so that's interesting there. I just think ultimately what's going to help is Virginia Tech. Winning is going to help Boise. It's got to come into play. If they win the ACC, that really does help out Boise State.
Injured player down on the field for North Carolina A&T. Let's see if we can get a peek. That's Mike Mayu, and trainers attending to him. He's the best player on this Aggie offense. As we told you, 211 yards rushing, 31 carries. And right now, he's being tended to by the trainers. And Mayu in this game went over the millennium mark, 1,042 yards rushing on the season. Look at that average yards per carry. What's more impressive, he's done that a lot. Remember, this team hasn't had a quarterback for most of the season. He's done that going up against 8- and 9-man fronts quite a bit.
Yeah, he's been their offense for the season. This is the part that you just hate to see him down. I mean, he's definitely their most valuable player on this football team. This is the end of the run.
Ooh, like he may have landed awkwardly on that left ankle. Let's go down to Charlie.
Hey, just before that play, on the previous play he ran the ball, he wanted to come out. He had tweaked something, and because of that hurry-up offense that the Aggies are also running, they were unable to get a substitute in for him because he signaled over to the bench. I was watching him that he wanted to come out of the game. They were unable to get a substitute in for him, and then he got injured on the next play.
That's tough. Then that'll lead to the question. You figure you're down by 50 points. Should he still be in the game? Your most valuable player. And this is the previous play there that Charlie was talking about. And
if you watch him when he gets up, he'll signal over to the bench.
So that looks like
that he's trying to come out. You see him walking very gingerly. You see, he signals to the bench that he wants to come out, but they never got a replacement in there for him, and they ran the play, and Now he's coming off. Hopefully he'll be all right.
You hope it's just a cramp. You don't wish it's anything worse. But yeah, that previous play that Charlie alluded to looked like he kind of tugged right away at his right hamstring.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, you're thinking, hey, if that's a cramp, and what people don't realize is, you know, if you start off with that one cramp and you don't treat that one, then you start getting body cramps. You just can't move. I mean, you're just neutralizing. I've seen grown men cry from body cramps and not have the ability to move any body muscle in their body. Just kind of knocks you out that way.
This is Ricky Lewis on the Wildcat here. 67-17. Probably both sides just want this game to come to an end. Bethune-Cookman on its way to an 8-0 record. And I was reading the other day as we were preparing for this game, I think it was Phil Steele. Yeah, it was Phil Steele. Puts out a college preview every season, and in his write-up for Bethune-Cookman, he mentions that with Brian Jenkins coming in, there's going to be change in offensive philosophy, which there was. They went from a wishbone to sort of a pistol, read option, spread offense. And he says usually that takes about 2-3 years. And I got to give Phil Steele credit. He's usually right with a lot of his projections, a lot of his predictions. But, you know, that's a normal thing to believe. Hey, you're going to change offensive philosophy. Usually it takes you a few years to get your personnel in there. That's what makes what Brian Jenkins is doing even more impressive, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, the fact they adapted, and it all goes with the fact that they had a quarterback in play. If Matt Johnson was not on campus, they wouldn't have the type of numbers they had. So Matt Johnson was a kid that when he first came to Bethune-Cookman, they had very high hopes for. You know, I remember talking to Coach Wyatt thinking that, hey, this kid's going to be special. Somewhere along the line, he got lost in the mix and became a backup quarterback. But the fact that he still took care of his grades in the classroom, remained eligible, and when his turn came, he was ready and he rose to the challenge.
A quick reminder for you, ESPN Rise High School Football continues Friday night this week. You got Burns and Dorman in South Carolina. This is Lewis again. Out of the Wildcat close to the 10-yard line. It's the Burns Rebels and the Dorman Cavaliers, the future stars of football today. The ESPN Rise High School Football Showcase presented by Nike, Friday at 8 Eastern on ESPNU.
We got North Carolina A&T running the Wildcat against the Wildcat.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to run Wildcat against Wildcat, not just for the namesake, but for the team speed they have on defense, the Wildcats.
Jay, I want to actually go back to your last point when you mentioned Matt Johnson. What a lot of folks don't realize.
Fumble.
Oh, another fumble. Was he down already, though? Looks like he may have been down. No.
They're saying he was down, but this seemed like a pretty clear fumble, right? He was nowhere close to down.
Yeah. That was a clean strip.
That wasn't even close.
What I was saying about Matt Johnson, though, was Brian Jenkins actually knew Matt Johnson, and now they're saying it is a fumble, and Bethune-Cookman will have the football, and they'll just run out the clock. When Matt Johnson was playing high school football, Brian Jenkins, his current head coach, was an assistant then at Louisiana Lafayette, and they actually looked at him. They recruited him, and they said, yeah, you know what, at the end of the day, we couldn't give him a scholarship because he was too small, just 5'10". But the offense that Matt Johnson ran in high school was similar to the offense that Brian Jenkins has implemented here. So when Jenkins got to Bethune-Cookman, he said, well, I've got a quarterback who I know has run this offense before, is familiar with it. And, you know, what we saw today for, what, a half and change, that's about as long as Matt Johnson was in the game. He looked like a guy who'd been running it for 4 years.
Yeah, smooth. You know, he's got a smooth element about the way he runs it, and he's got underrated passer. I mean, he's got a nice arm. You know, you're going to call it a great arm? No, but it's a nice arm to have. And for this offense, what they asked him to do, it's the perfect offense.
All right, Jay, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Dead ball. False start. Number 62 of the offense. Half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
So it's a loss of about a half yard. But, Jay, let me put you on the spot. Bethune-Cookman at Hampton against Howard. Big rivalry game against Florida A&M. The Howard game, we expect them to win. What about the other two games?
Well, you expect them to win the Howard game? Why do you say that, man? I'm joking. Yeah.
Has nothing to do with Howard being 0-4 in the MEAC and 1-6 overall. It's nothing to do with that.
I'm going to take the Kirk Herbstreit rule.
Okay.
Okay, so, you know, he doesn't make a prediction on the game he's calling. So since I'm calling the Bethune-Cookman Hampton game,
okay,
can't answer that question.
Okay.
Did you like that?
What about the Florida A&M game?
And I'm going to take the being safe in the state of Florida rule.
Okay.
It's a very, very good contest. I think, you know, this is going to be a great battle of the bands.
You're going to tell me back in the hotel.
Yeah. It'll be a great battle of the bands. And I just think, you know, there's certain games. Bayou Classic is one. Magic City Classic is the other, where you throw records out the window, and any team that's supposed to win normally does not win because they get up for it. So it seems to be that type of shape-up. But it'll be interesting.
Brian Jenkins and Bethune-Cookman improved to 8-0. Our final score, 67-17. Bethune-Cookman, a resounding victory against North Carolina A&T. Lowell Galindo and Charles Arbuckle are standing by to bring you Sports Center U. But first, we'll return to wrap up our game here in Daytona Beach on the Lexus HBCU post-game report. That's right after these messages. Bethune-Cookman ran for 457 yards. They ran for 8 touchdowns. Matt Johnson, the quarterback, had a couple of rushing TDs. And this was really no contest. 67-17, Bethune-Cookman over North Carolina A&T and East Shroff. Here with Jay Walker on the HBCU post-game report. And Jay, this game featured a blackout. It turned into a wipeout.
It did turn into a wipeout, but, you know, give credit to Bethune-Cookman. They came in here with an opportunity to show the nation why some people think they're the best team in black college football. They did not disappoint. They showed you why they're explosive, and they're the #1 scoring offense in the country.
And all started early. That was the blackout. First quarter, right before a 2-point conversion, lights went out. We had about an hour and 40-minute delay before play would resume. Finally, the play resumed, and it was all Bethune.
Yeah, it was. You know, Matt Johnson showing you he can get it done on the air. Nice double move right there to hit Poole for the touchdown. And then they just were able to run the ball over and over, time and time again. They rushed for over 450 yards on the ground. They basically just won the game in the trenches and allowed their athletes to make plays on the perimeter.
Look at the final stats. 617 yards of total offense.
Yeah, it could have been more than that, but you know the key matter is the offense played fantastic, defense played well for North Carolina A&T. 74 yards passing is not going to get it done when you're trying to pull off an upset.
Next week, Bethune, they play Hampton. That's a big game. If Bethune loses, they fall out of first place in the MEAC.
Yeah, I mean, Bethune-Cookman, I think the question's answered. Are they for real? Yes, they are for real. They're a very good football team, but Hampton's not scared of them. And you see, anytime you beat South Carolina State, you know you got a good football team. So it's going to be interesting to see. But their challenging games are still on the schedule. At Hampton versus Florida A&M.
Yeah, those are 2 of the remaining 3 games. Once again, your final score, Bethune-Cookman 67, North Carolina A&T 17. That's it for the HBCU post-game report, brought to you by Lexus. You.